And welcome back to the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us. Should have some great baseball today. We're going to have a triple header for you guys. So we're going to have the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. First up here in our afternoon game, we will have likely the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners, maybe the Rangers and Angels, depending on the feedback we get from you guys. And then the nightcap, Sunday Night Baseball, the LA Dodgers versus the Seattle Mariners. So without further ado, let's get underway. Now, first and foremost, the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves both have gotten off to great starts this year. It'll be Wells versus Elder as your starting pitcher matchup. Looks like we're just a couple of seconds away from first pitch here. Elder gets the start for the Atlanta Braves. Just looking at his stats on the screen here. So far this year, he's 3-0, a 1.75 earned run average in 6 games so far, 36 innings pitched, 32 strikeouts, and a 1.06 whip. For the Baltimore Orioles, they will go with Tyler Wells. Tyler Wells on the year, 2-1 through six games, 5 starts anyway. A 3.34 earned run average, 35 innings pitched, 27 strikeouts, and a .77 whip. So very competitive starting pitching matchup anyway. He was an original draft pick of the Minnesota Twins in round number 15, but he's found some consistency now in the rotation for the Baltimore Orioles. Now, there's a lot of speculation about what the Orioles could ultimately end up looking like as this season goes on, because again, this starting rotation is not exactly what it's expected to be for years 2, 3, 4. But we'll see what this year at least holds, what pieces they can get for their future out of the rotation that they have right now. Looks like they're waiting for the TV broadcast people to get ready. Umpire kind of looking around, making sure everybody's ready to go. For the Orioles, it'll be Cedric Mullins in center, leading things off. Anthony Santander is your designated hitter. Mountcastle at first. Gunnar Henderson is at short today. Hayes is in left. Frazier is once again at second. Urias is at third. Stowers is in right, and McCann does the catching. First pitch misses, ball 1. And the second one up and in, ball 2. New pitch clock rules, kind of speeding up the game this year. That one misses well north of the zone. Elder a little bit erratic here to start. 3-0 now on Cedric Mullins. His stolen base numbers are through the roof. That one just misses north of the zone, and it's a quick 4-pitch walk. As I was mentioning, Cedric Mullins' career high was last year in stolen bases with, I believe, 32. Just in the first month of the season, he already has 11 stolen bases. So be very careful if you're the Atlanta Braves. You're issuing free passes to known base stealers. So we'll see if that puts any extra pressure on Bryce Elder here. Santander digs in here. Elder still looking for his first strike of the game. Just nibbles at the corner. 91-mile-an-hour fastball. And we have the first strike of the game. Santander hitting .256, 5 homers, 19 RBIs, and a .783 OPS. This one's lifted high in the air, only a couple steps back, coming back on for it. Now running forward is Harris and gets under it to make the catch. Gets the wind playing a little bit of a trick on him there. For the Braves, it'll be Rosario in left, Harris in center, Acuna in right, who's off to an MVP level season. Riley at third, Arcia is at short. Second is Albies, and first is Matt Olson. And doing the catching is Tromp. Mountcastle, the first baseman, digging in. Pickoff attempt by Elder. If you saw that last pitch that Elder threw, Mullins got a massive lead, secondary lead on that one. Wise decision to throw over there, honestly. Mountcastle on the year hitting .261, 8 homers, 26 RBIs. In this series is 3 for 9. Does have a double. Provides a little bit of the power in this lineup. This one's grounded to short. Arcia goes the short way to Mullins, and the double play is converted. Nice work there by Elder to work around a leadoff walk. And we go to the bottom of the first. 0-0 our score. Now, as I was mentioning, Ronald Acuna is off to a fantastic start. Very likely going to be the NL MVP if the season were to end today. But, of course, we still have 5 months to go. So let's slow down a little bit on some of those projections. But right now, through about a month and change, 131 at-bats. He's got 30 runs scored, 46 hits, 6 homers, 21 RBIs, 15 stolen bases, and his OPS is is over 1,000 right now. So that average as well is pretty high at 351. On base percentage 445. He's doing pretty much everything right now that the Braves could ask of him. And the biggest thing right now would be just to make sure he stays healthy and on the field. So we'll see if the Braves kind of manage his health a little bit as the season goes along, whether they give him a day off, let him DH every now and again, things like that. But he's definitely earned every penny of that contract and then some. Probably one of the best contracts ever signed by any team anyway in professional baseball history. Just the production they're getting for the money they're paying is through the roof. Now Tyler Wells digging in right now, or is the pitcher on the mound digging in, loosening up out there. Kind of went through his numbers. We'll refresh your memory. 2-1, 3.34 earned run average, 27 strikeouts in 35 innings, and a 0.77 whip. Now, as far as the Braves, their lineup, Acuna will be leading things off in right, followed by Olson and Riley. The biggest change to this team offensively, of course, is at shortstop. There's no longer a Dansby Swanson there. They do bring in Orlando Arcia. They were hoping to have, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. Vaughn, anyway, the shortstop. They were hoping to have him kind of take that position to start the season, and he never really earned it. Kind of struggled defensively, struggled offensively in spring training, so the Braves kind of sent him down. And Arcia, kind of a low-cost option for the Braves. He was expected to be kind of their utility guy coming into the offseason anyway. But they signed him to a 3-year extension. He's going to be there, I believe $7.5 million was the total value of that contract. Again, Braves getting cost certainty with just about every player in their lineup as Acuna takes high. Ball 1. Well set, and the delivery. Little tapper off the end of the bat. Slow roller to short. Tough play here for Henderson, and gets Acuna just in the nick of time. But as I was saying, just about everybody in this lineup for the Braves is under cost control. They all have long-term contracts already negotiated with the Braves. That starts with Ronald Acuna. The first baseman, Matt Olson, up next anyway. He, of course, came over in that massive trade last year from the Oakland A's as they were looking to kind of try to pare down their roster a little bit. But the Braves taking advantage of it. They did lose Shea Langeliers, who's probably going to be the catcher of the future there in Oakland. But they were able to get that extension done with Matt Olson. The primary reason why they made that trade was because they get him at the number the Braves wanted instead of keeping a guy like Freddie Freeman. The 1-0 here to Olson. Swung on and missed. Mighty hack there by Olson. Left-handed hitter. Hitting .246 on the year. Riley, they got the long-term extension done with. Albies is under a long-term deal, much like Acuna. Hard to say which contract is a better sign for the Braves, the Acuna deal or the Albies. I'd probably say Acuna, just because the level of production is just a little bit higher. The ceiling is a little bit higher on a player like Acuna. That one misses outside, and it's 3-1. After Albies, it'll be Eddie Rosario. That's the one spot in this lineup. Maybe they could use a little bit of improvement. You have to worry. You have to think about the issues they've had with Marcell Ozuna. This one's hit high, left center field, to the wall. Gone. Home run for Matt Olson. Fantastic start here for the Braves. Wow. Just opposite field power there for Olson. Didn't look like he got all of it, but 108 off the bat either way. 413 feet to left center field, and the Braves lead it 1-0. And as I said, it didn't look like he got all of it as well. Tells you how strong a guy like Matt Olson is. It'll be Austin Riley next. Looks like he might have gotten it towards the end of the bat. I'm curious how far that would have gone if it went a little bit more on that barrel. Nice off-speed pitch down the middle. 0-1 here to Riley. That's the one issue a lot of people have with the Baltimore Orioles is this starting pitching enough to be able to get you through 162 games? They've done a decent job so far this season. They've gotten a 22-11 record. We'll go through the standings here in just a little bit. But that's the question for the Orioles. Are they going to have enough starting pitching to stay in the top couple of spots in the AL East? Mighty rip there by Riley. Kind of has to stretch after that one. Hitting 256 on the year, 6 homers, 18 RBIs. 1-2 is the count here. The set by Wells, and the pitch. Little tapper, foul to the third base side, and we'll do it again. Since the start of last year, Braves are 94-17 when they score first since the start of last year. That's the best record when scoring first in all of Major League Baseball. This one bounces well outside, 2-2. Appreciate you guys joining us here on an early Sunday morning. Elder getting a little bit of run support here in the first inning already. Healthy rip there by Riley. Just comes up empty, and that's the strikeout. 2 away here. It'll be up to Ozzie Albies to keep this inning going. As I mentioned, the long-term contracts that they've signed, I didn't even mention a couple of them. Spencer Strider, Sean Murphy, who they just acquired this offseason, in the latest edition of the Oakland A's, selling off their remaining pieces. They get him from the Oakland A's. Kind of a modest return for them. They do lose Contreras in the deal. He goes to Milwaukee, but they're very happy to have Sean Murphy. He's not in the lineup right now, but pretty much every piece in this lineup is locked up long term. The one thing they could use some improvement at is probably their DH spot and their left field spot, because they do have a little bit of money tied up in Ozuna and in Rosario. Not a whole lot into Rosario, so they could go out there and get one more outfielder this offseason. Maybe a guy who's having a little bit of a bounce back year, like Joey Gallo, would be a buy low option that they could put out there for a couple of years. Would be exactly the type of player the Braves turn around, and they have had interest in him in the past. This one's lifted on a 2-0 count into short center field. Mullins makes the catch, and through one, it's Atlanta 1 and Atlanta 1 and the Orioles nothing. Now, as I mentioned, we were going to get into some of the standings from around Major League Baseball, starting in the American League East. We mentioned the Baltimore Orioles were off to a great start. Well, the entire division as a whole is really off to a great start. I know all the national media is giving all the love to the American League East right now, but there will be some regression, mark my words. The Rays, we saw them get off to that great start, had a little bit of a wobble for about 2 weeks, and then it looks like they're back to being world beaters right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10, a 27-7 record overall. The Orioles, the one we're watching right now, 22-11. They have also been fantastic this year, but they're also doing it a little bit differently than the other teams in the division. The Rays, for the first time ever, are really using power. The Yankees, of course, more of a power team, and really all the other teams in this division are relying on the power in their lineup. The Orioles are relying a lot more on their speed, on-base ability, those types of things. And then, of course, they're still getting some pop along with that. The question will be, is that starting pitching enough to hold on? The biggest surprise has got to be the Boston Red Sox. They're 7 games above 500, yet they're still 6.5 games back. They're playing well above their heads right now. Their bullpen, I'd have to say, is the biggest advantage for them. I did hear about the A's announcer. I'll put it this way. There's been a few announcers over the past couple of years that have had issues with comments they make on the air, trying to avoid getting some type of a notification myself, honestly. But you think of like Buck Martinez, etc., and a whole bunch of other announcers. But I'm wondering if we'll see some changes in the way that some of the broadcasts, some of the news stations, some of the TV conglomerates handle those types of situations going forward. Because it's happening a little bit more frequently than we've seen, say, in the past 20 years. Looks like we're back from commercial break anyway. To round out this AL East anyway, Toronto 20-14, Yankees, even with all the MASH unit they've been playing with right now, are still 9 games back, but still 2 games above 500. So we'll see if they're able to hold on until they get Aaron Judge back in the lineup. Gunnar Henderson takes high, ball 1. This one's fouled off, and it's quickly 1-1 here. Henderson having a little bit of a slow start compared to the hot streak he was on at the end of last year, hitting only 186. Very curious to see what they ultimately get out of Gunnar Henderson. I think he'll figure it out. I think he'll be one of their main cogs in their lineup going forward. But so far just hasn't found as much success as I think Orioles front office and Orioles fans would really have liked to have seen. This one finishes below the zone, 2-1. Stands in there on the left side. Another one away, but over the outside corner, swung on and missed by Henderson. It's now 2-2, hitting 186, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and a 683 OPS. This series he's hitting 1 for 7, 3 strikeouts, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you guys want to hit that like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate that. This one nubbed off the end of the bat right to Arcia, flips on to first for the first out here in the second inning. Hayes will be next, hitting 293 on the year. Orioles, a very fascinating team to cover this year just because of how their future is ultimately going to unfold. They had the first pick in last year's draft. They're going to have some success, you'd think, here in the next year or two, especially postseason success with all the draft picks they've got coming. Their lineup is going to be very good over the next probably 10 years if they can get Henderson to hit and some of these top draft picks. But there's some conversation about what they'll do with Santander. I know people at the deadline last year were arguing that they should trade him. This offseason, they were saying, hey, make some room on this roster a little bit, trade Santander and try to get some pieces, maybe a starting pitcher. And they decided to go ahead and keep him in their lineup, and it's been a good choice so far. He's been very productive for them. That's a quick strikeout there by Elder, just 1, 2, 3. Just in that short 30-second time frame. That's what the pitch clock's doing this year. Speeding up the clock on hitters. Just way out in front on that one. It'll be up to Adam Frazier. Came over from the Seattle Mariners. Before that with the San Diego Padres, and before that he started his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Arguably had his best time or best part of his career with that Pirates team just before the trade to the San Diego Padres, leading the league in average and on-base percentage at that time, and really only hit like 200 after the trade to the Padres. Didn't do much better last year with the Mariners, and this year hitting 239. Quickly gets ahead 3-0 here. Elder just nibbling at the corners a little bit. There's a 4-pitch walk once again by Elder. Downside of nibbling at the corners, sometimes you're not going to get the call. Now, we mentioned that the Major League Baseball has changed a lot of the rules this year. Pitch clocks, larger bases, only 2 disengagements for the pitcher, 1 for the hitter. Hitter has to be in the box and engage with the pitcher with 8 seconds on the clock. If the pitcher's not already on the mound and giving something for the hitter to be engaged with, then it's going to go down as a balk anyway. A lot of different rule changes right now. And of course, you still have the bullpen rules, and then of course once you get into extra innings, the run around second base, all those kinds of things. The one thing we haven't seen yet is the robo-umps. And what that is basically is an electronic strike zone. That way it takes a little bit more responsibility off of the shoulders of the umpire, and there won't be any more ball-strike arguments. It'll literally be, what is it? You can literally see it on the screen. Is it a ball or is it a strike? And so they're experimenting with that right now in the minor leagues. Urias is up, hitting 286 through 28 games. Has a homer and 15 RBIs. 3 for 9 with 5 strikeouts in this series so far. Now on right down Broadway, off-speed pitch, 1-1. Appreciate you for joining us, Charles. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. The set by Elder and the pitch. Another off-speed pitch. Great slider. Has Urias out in front. Curious if they'll speed him up, bust him up and in. Soft away. Hard inside. It's usually the formula for success. Another off-speed pitch, but well outside there. About 4 or 5 inches off the corner. 2-2. Seeing if he could get him to chase. No hits given up yet, but we've seen a couple of walks here by Elder. Works with his off-speed pitches quite a bit so far. Only 13% fastball rate. This one's fouled straight back to the screen, and it remains 2-2. Braves also have a plethora of good young starting pitching that they can work with, and they still have more in the minors. Not as much as they did, say, 2 or 3 years ago, but they still have enough starting pitching right now to sustain the level of success that they have. This one's fouled off down the first base side and into the seats. The one question for them, of course, is about Max Fried. Are they going to be able to get a contract extension done with him, or are they ultimately going to have to trade him or lose him in free agency? Now, right now, of course, they're in the middle of a season. I don't expect them to trade him at all. If they do decide to trade him, it'll be after the season. But he's only got 2 years, including this year, left on his deal. Good pickoff attempt there by Elder, but getting back in time is Frazier. But will the Braves turn around and trade Fried after the season? I don't think they will. I think he's going to be a Brave. Of course, you have to worry about him going in free agency the next year, but the Braves have done a really good job as far as locking up their players. I think Fried would really like to get to free agency, but I think the Braves have a little bit more incentive to try to get a long-term contract done. I mean, he is their ace right now in that rotation. Strider probably a 1A, 1B with Fried at the top of their rotation. Elder's been fantastic this year. They have Wright in that rotation right now. Ian Anderson was great for them a couple of years ago. Is not in the rotation right now because of injury. He was out for the year, I believe. Nice stop there by Elder with the backhand and is able to flip it on to first. And Urias is retired. To the bottom of the second we go. It'll be Rosario, Ozuna, and Harris for the Braves. But as I mentioned, the Braves have a great young starting pitching already locked up for the most part. Back to the standings anyway, just to kind of recap everything. We just finished the American League East. In the Central, it's been pretty much the Twins holding out for the only winning record in the division. The White Sox are going to be one of the surprise teams this year to be under 500, and they will be one of the teams that will sell at the deadline. So I know a lot of my audience likes to focus on trades and trade deadline talk. That's one team you might want to focus on early as to what pieces are performing well, what pieces could they try to trade, what pieces need a change of scenery, those types of things. Eloy Jimenez, by the way, for that team, just goes on the IL. He's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks due to an injury. So the White Sox, while they're excited to get Liam Hendricks back and resolve their bullpen issues, it's still not looking great for their future as far as winning games. In the AL West, another surprising division, the Texas Rangers find themselves on top right now, 19-13 record. Had a great game yesterday against the LA Angels. I think the final there was 10-1. Angels had won the game previously to tie them for tops in the division. They've got a great start as well. They're 19-15, being led primarily by that offense that's a little bit more impressive this year. Their pitching, though, is again another concern I have. I picture them and the Orioles very similarly as far as their starting rotations. If one succeeds, then the team will succeed. If they don't succeed, then the team's going to fall on its face by the trade deadline. So keep your eyes peeled on the starting rotation there for the Angels. I think the Angels are in a little bit more precarious position than, say, the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Houston Astros have been treading water. That's about what I expected them to do without a guy like Jose Altuve in their lineup right now. But we'll see if they get Jose Altuve back here by the end of the month, maybe the beginning of June. The Texas Rangers, by there, are without Corey Seager. They've been without him for about a month now, and Jacob deGrom is on the IL. So some injury issues bothering this division, not to mention the Seattle Mariners, who are without Robbie Ray. He is going to be out for the entire season, but their young starting pitching has started to come through a little bit. So they were under 500 by about 5-6 games about 2 weeks ago. They've raised their record now to 16-17 with a big win over Houston last night, and they're only a game under 500. Of course, the bottom team in this division, the Oakland A's, they traded away a couple of pieces here to the Atlanta Braves in Sean Murphy and Matt Olson over the last couple of years. They are not really a major league representative team. Right now, they're more of a AAA club trying to see if they got pieces for the future. Like I've mentioned multiple times on a lot of these lives, they'll be lucky to win 40 games. And I think they'll still get there, but it'll be a challenge to see once they get to September how close they are to that 40-win mark. 2-1 here on Rosario here in the bottom of the second. This one misses low and in. It's now 3-1. Wells out for his second inning of work. Only run in the game coming off of the bat of Matt Olson hitting a home run to left center where he didn't get all of it, but it was still 108 off the bat, 413 to left center. Dots the corner there on the inside corner, and it's now 3-2 to Rosario. Rosario, one of the best postseasons in Braves playoff history, getting them all the way to the World Series and winning that World Series. He was instrumental in that role. Fouled off here, and it's still 3-2. Orioles, though, are a team on the rise. They would like to be where the Braves have been. We'll see if they can hold their own. They got the win yesterday. That's a nice pitch there by Wells. Gets Rosario to chase. That's the second strikeout now for Wells. One away here in the bottom of the second. Marcell Ozuna hitting 152. Curious to see if he still has a role on this team here in the next month or two. The biggest reason why the Braves haven't cut him as of yet, because of all of his off-season or off-the-field issues, is because he still was productive with the bat and they had money tied up in him long term. Well, that money's starting to get a little bit less, and they need to get more production in this lineup. So if they decide to make a trade at the deadline, etc., then maybe he's the first guy that they decide to opt out of and go ahead and just put him on the DFA. But we'll see. That one misses outside, 1-0. Does have a lot of power, but as I mentioned, has a lot of baggage. A little bit surprising to see the Braves stick by him as long as they have. A little tapper back to the screen. 1-1. Braves have used multiple catchers this season, and they've used d'Arnaud in that DH role. They've used Murphy in that DH role. I wonder if they go out there and get a bat that can play a little bit of left and DH. Kind of like what Ozuna's role is on this team right now. That one misses high, 2-1. One possible candidate would be Cody Bellinger of the Chicago Cubs. He's having a nice bounce-back season right now for the Cubs after having some struggles with the Dodgers the last 3 years. Chopper, over to third and just airmailed the throw. Urias pulls the first baseman off the bag and unable to get the tag on him in time. Urias looks like he just nonchalant this, and this just whipped it, airmailed it. Mountcastle made a leaping catch on it, but is able to avoid the tag as Ozuna. That should definitely go as an error on the third baseman Urias, and looks like it does. Braves have a runner on. Michael Harris hitting .220 this year, 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 646 OPS. 0 for 3 so far in this series. Has missed some time already this season, signed that long-term deal, but pitchers are starting to figure him out a little bit, so he's got to learn to adjust a little bit. Had a great rookie season. The Braves had basically the 1-2 in the Rookie of the Year voting in the National League, Strider and Harris. But Harris has got to make that next step in his career now and show that he can adjust all the things pitchers are now trying to do to him now that they've got a book on him a little bit. 2-0 here to Harris. Wells up to 29 pitches through an inning and a third. Arcia waiting on deck, hitting .333 on the year. This one right down Broadway, tapped hard back to the screen. 2-1. You can see the potential of this Braves team if they can get Harris back on track. They still got a great 1 through 4 in this lineup. And then, of course, you have Murphy coming in there at times. You got d'Arnaud as your catcher at times. They should be happy with pretty much anybody they put behind the plate right now. They've got some solid guys to put behind the dish. 3-1 as that one misses inside. The set here by Wells. And the pitch. Right down Broadway, off-speed pitch is popped high into the air. This will be an infield fly. Urias makes the catch. 2 away. It'll be up to Arcia to keep this inning going for the Braves. Trump doing the catching right now with d'Arnaud not on the active roster for the Braves. First pitch here is fouled off. Tapped foul to third base. Ouch. They show a replay of Arcia taking one off of the wrist earlier this season. The 0-1. Nice pitch there by Wells. Just climbed the ladder on him. Unable to catch up with it as Arcia, and it's quickly 0-2. Wells looking for his third strikeout of the game here. They see if they can get him to chase that one up in the north of the zone, and he does not offer. Not too close of a pitch, not too competitive, but not too bad. The set by Wells and the pitch. This time they do get him to chase. That one a little bit more of a competitive pitch, and they do get Arcia swinging. Third strikeout of the game for Wells. Works a clean inning, and through two, Braves on top, 1-0. Only run coming on that Matt Olson home run in the bottom of the first. On the NL side of the standings, the Atlanta Braves, as we're watching today, they're 23-11 entering play today. They've been nothing short of fantastic all year round. They've been pretty consistent. The only trouble spot I've seen so far is that they got swept at home by the Houston Astros earlier this season. You'll see some of those series anyway throughout the year. You'll see some teams that are below 500 actually play really well against teams that are real contenders. But I think the Atlanta Braves could not have asked for a better start than what they're at right now. I'd be very satisfied with where you are. The bigger thing for them is just making sure they're healthy by the end of the season. That's Ronald Acuna. That's Matt Olson. That's whatever they decide to do with their lineup right now. If they need to have Sean Murphy in there, if they need to have hold on just a second. Let me get that off there. Sorry about that. But the Atlanta Braves just need to stay healthy with Ronald Acuna. Albie is that middle infield is going to be very important with Arcia now being back healthy right now. Their defense has been their calling card for the past couple years. That's why the loss of Swanson was a little bit worrisome for them. But they got a good, very capable shortstop back in there right now in Arcia. Offensively, though, it's a little bit of a downturn from Dansby Swanson. For the Cubs, Swanson's been exactly what the doctor ordered. For the Mets, they're 17-17 right now. They're struggling to win games. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Colorado, they got beat by yesterday, and they're struggling to get some consistent performances out of that rotation. But primarily right now, that offense just is not putting up runs the way they should. They're reliant on Pete Alonso to hit the long ball. They're a little bit of a herky-jerky offense. That was my concern with them coming into this season, is that the issue they had at the end of last year through the month of September, why the Braves were able to catch them, was because their offense faltered. We're back here for the third inning. Elder misses high to Stowers. Stowers hitting 125 on the year. That one just catching the corner. 1-1. Stowers only in 9 games this year. 125, no runs, no RBIs. Another one nibbling at the corner but misses, 2-1. But the Mets just need to get greater consistency out of that offense. That was the issue they had at the end of last year, and that's their issue right now. They're struggling to, consistently put runs across the board. So whenever you do get, in a rut, maybe it's a little tougher to get out of that rut because of their lineup decisions. But their big acquisition this offseason from an offensive perspective, as far as a gain, they brought back their own guys in Nimmo, etc. But their only guy that they added was I believe John Jay to that offense. So not exactly moving the needle offensively. I know they're counting on their top prospect to come in and solve their catching issues. But right now, I would have worried more about that offense. Now, of course, they could have brought in Carlos Correa, as Elder gets the strikeout here of Stowers, his second strikeout of the game. But the Mets certainly could use another offensive punch to that lineup. Now that they did not bring in Carlos Correa, maybe that frees up them to make a move to bring in a hitter at the deadline. But right now they're 17-17. As I mentioned, treading water. Verlander just made his first start against the Detroit Tigers, and they lost that start, by the way, 2-0. They got swept by the Detroit Tigers in that series, by the way. Scherzer's missed time due to suspension, came back from that suspension and gave up like 7 runs in 3 innings and change in his first start back from suspension due to foreign substance being on his hand during a game. 0-2 here quickly to McCann. Elder starting to find the strike zone a little bit. But the Mets need to solve their offensive issues. Now the Miami Marlins have fallen on rough times. They're losers of 5 straight. Philadelphia losers of 6 straight. They were both above 500 before their long losing streaks. Miami just got off of a series with the Atlanta Braves. They're currently in a series against the Chicago Cubs. But their offense is a lot better than what it was last year. That's the primary reason why they got off to such a decent start. Pablo Lopez going the other way has really been everything that you could hope for the Twins. One of the most fair and balanced trades that we've seen in baseball over the past, I don't know, 3-4 years. Philadelphia, of course, just getting Bryce Harper back. Elder 1-2 now on McCann. The set and the pitch. Tap to third. Riley set, makes a strong throw, and offline, Olson makes the tag, but the ball pops out of the glove on the tag. Just what is up with the third baseman making poor throws to first today? I mean, Olson still should have had that tag on him, and that ball should not have come out, but the tag just hit him right on the arm, and it just popped it, or hit him in the chest, slid down his hand, and it just popped out. I guess Olson didn't squeeze it tight enough. Last in this division is the Washington Nationals. Off to a 13-20 start. This is more about them getting growth out of their youngsters for them. So that kind of rounds things out in the NL East. Cedric Mullins, as the lineup kind of circles around, is up at the plate. Takes strike one at the very, and I mean very bottom of the zone. Worked a walk in his first at bat. That one bounces in front of home plate. 1-1 now. McCann stays at first. Catcher not exactly known for his speed, so it's going to have to get quite a ways away for McCann to try to advance on something like that in the dirt. This one right down Broadway is fouled off. Pitch Mullins would really like to have back. I'm sure he would like to have driven that. Riley gave it a nice chase, but wasn't able to get there as it fell too fast. Landing just foul. It's now 2-2 here to Mullins. As that one's in the dirt. Another good block there by Trump. It's going to be tough for any Atlanta catcher to really break through over the next couple of years. Darno's under contract. Murphy's under contract. So Trump getting some work here with the injury to Darno. Elder set. And the pitch. Right down Broadway. Hit hard all the way to the wall and right. Acuna there, coming up, throwing. McCann will be stopped at third. There'll be runners at second and third, but a nice double there for Cedric Mullins. He's been on twice now. And Orioles have something cooking here. 2 on and in scoring position. Only 1 out here in the top of the third. Elder finding himself in a little bit of hot water. This Orioles offense has certainly been their calling card so far in this series. The Orioles celebration is just to spit out water into the field of play whenever somebody gets a hit. Kind of like a fountain or a dolphin or something like that. Just kind of a interesting way to celebrate a teammate's base hit. Santander takes a strike. Falls behind 0-1. This one's fouled away, and it's quickly 0-2. As I mentioned, Elder's working very quickly today. He hasn't had too many pitches go right down the middle, but you can see why. He nibbles at the edges. That velocity isn't exactly something that you can blow by a hitter. So when he does miss down the middle of the plate, you just saw what could happen with Cedric Mullins just nailing that one all the way to the wall. This one in the dirt. Nice job keeping it in front of him there. Is Trump. 1-2. Interesting note there by the NBC crew here. Highest career slugging percentage by player in interleague play. Aaron Judge, of course, is number 1. Number 2, Anthony Santander. That one misses behind the back foot of Santander. Didn't get him to chase. 2-2. Infield playing back. They're not trying to cut down the run at the plate. They're going to call time here as that clock was winding down on the pitcher there, Elder. Looks like they couldn't get on the same page. Big moment here early in the game. Braves on top 1-0 on the strength of that Matt Olson home run. First time the Orioles have really had something going here. McCann is on third. Mullins is on second after that double to right field. Elder up to 46 pitches through 2 1/3 innings, 2 strikeouts so far. The set here by Elder. And the pitch. Right off his front foot. That's going to be bases loaded now for the Baltimore Orioles with Ryan Mountcastle, one of their best sluggers, coming up next. Not exactly the way you wanted that at bat to end, especially when you had him 0-2, couple of balls in the dirt, and another one just overthrown, I guess is the best way to put it. Just literally bounced in the dirt and almost right off his toe immediately. I get he's trying to bury that ball back foot, but there's such a thing as being too perfect, and right there I think there's a prime example of them trying to be too perfect. Mountcastle in his career with bases loaded, 30 at-bats, 267 average with a couple of grand slams. Another one in the dirt by Elder. This one blocked by Trump, and McCann stays at third base. Curious to see if we have another ball here, if there's going to be a mound visit. The interesting part before that 2-2 pitch was that the catcher came out and spoke with Elder just to make sure they were on the same page, and then promptly had that hit by pitch. So nice pitch there right on the inside corner. Mountcastle fouls that one off, 1-1. As I mentioned, Elder doesn't have the greatest velocity, so he's got to work with his accuracy quite a bit. So if he's nibbling at the corners and missing, batters are going to get on with the walk. And if he's right down Broadway, hitters are going to miss. Or are not going to miss, excuse me. And so those are kind of the troublesome areas for a guy like Elder. This one misses low and in, but Mountcastle offers at it. Unable to make contact, and it's now 1-2. See if he could get him to chase once again. Another nice block by Trump. This one gets about 20 feet away, but this one up the third base line. Not exactly an opportunity for him to run. This one bounced about 3 inches in front of home plate and over in the other batter's box. I think Elder's just not got a feel for that pitch right now. I'd stop throwing it. The 2-2. Right down Broadway, just not at all what Mountcastle was looking for. And the off-speed pitch gets Mountcastle. And it's now 2 away here. The third strikeout for Elder in the game. 52 pitches so far. Orioles trying to scratch across a run here. Elder is very tough with runners in scoring position, holding batters to an .091 batting average when there's runners in scoring position. This one right on the outside corner gets the call. Strike one there to Henderson. Good opportunity here for Henderson to kind of shake out of his early season doldrums. And I mean just caught enough of that plate to be a strike. That one finishes low, ball 1, 1-1. If you guys are just joining us, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Thank you very much in advance. The 1-1. Nice heat right at the top of the zone. Gets Henderson to miss. Looks like he was a little bit late, even though it's only a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-2. And you can just see how Elder's kind of buckled down here over the last couple of hitters after that hit by pitch to Santander. Looking for his 4th strikeout. Nice pitch on the inner half of the plate. Caught a little bit more of the plate than I think he would have liked, but is able to put it past Henderson, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. Orioles load him up, but are unable to push across a run after loading him with only one out in the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts, and Elder gets out of it. High stress inning there for him. Early on a Sunday morning. Only 11:20 Central Time, so thank you guys for joining us on an early Sunday morning baseball game. Really appreciate that. We go to the bottom of the third. It'll be Trump, Acuna, and Olson for the Braves in the bottom of the third. Wrapping up our look around Major League Baseball's divisions, we covered all the American League divisions and the AL East. In the NL Central, it's been the Pittsburgh Pirates who had such a great lead in that division early on, but they've lost 6 straight games. The Milwaukee Brewers have also lost 6 straight games. Those are the 2 best teams in that division right now. They're still 20-14 for the Pirates, so they're kind of coming back to the pack a little bit like we expected they would. But they've had a nice start to their season, getting that extension done for Brian Reynolds, very important for them. Milwaukee, of course, that starting pitching is what they're going to rely on for the entire season. So we'll see what they ultimately decide to do with their free agents that are going to be hitting the market in 2024. I think this will be the last year this team is intact as currently constructed. Then we could see them make some moves. Brandon Woodruff could be on the move. A guy like Corbin Burns, one of the fastest ever to, I think, was it 1,000 strikeouts or something like that in his career in baseball history. And then Willie Adames as well. Those are all guys who are going to be free agents after 2024. The Brewers are not going to be able to afford all 3 of them. I expect them to trade at least one of them this offseason, if not at the trade deadline, much like they did with Josh Hader last year. The Cubs are at 17-6, 17-16. As I mentioned, Dansby Swanson's been everything that offense could hope for, and defensively, he's been nothing but a stalwart for them. The Reds playing a little bit better this season at 14-19. And then the Cardinals just absolutely abysmal right now. We'll get into some of the trouble the Cardinals are going to have over the next 6 months. Really, they're losers of 8 straight. They're 1 in their last 1-9 in their last 10, if you will. Trump digs in is a right-handed hitter, and Wells finds the zone 0-1. The note for the Cardinals is that Wilson Contreras, the big acquisition for them to take over for Yadi Molina behind the plate. Well, that experiment is done. He will now be shifted to an outfield position or a designated hitter here on out. Now, we knew Wilson Contreras was a offense first catcher anyway. His defense was not his calling card. There were some rumblings in spring training about how impressed the Cardinals were with his feel with the pitching staff. Trump fouls this one off, and it's 1-2. But apparently not so much. The Cardinals pitching staff has had up and down performances. Their offense has sputtered as of late. And they just haven't been able to win a lot of games. They're 10-24. This team is looking like they're going to have to sell here at the deadline. When's the last time you heard the Cardinals sell? They like to trade pieces for other pieces, not necessarily go into a full sell mode at the deadline. And this might be the first year we see the Cardinals really do that. They have some options that they could trade, outfielders. They got a couple of starters that they could move. But this is a team that's going to have to figure out some answers and quickly if they want to get back into contention. The 2-2 here, popped foul, and we'll do it again. But for the Cardinals, this is a team with Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, guys who are perennial candidates for the NL MVP. They bring in a younger guy to take over that catcher spot than Yadi Molina anyway, and they just haven't gotten any consistency back there. They called up another catcher from the minors because that's how bad Contreras, or they feel he has been at catcher. Tromp off the end of the bat flies this one out to left, and there is one away. Ronald Acuna Jr. coming up next. Appointment television whenever he comes up to the plate. So we'll get back into the Cardinals here in just a moment. But Acuna digging in on the right side. His favorite player when he grows up, or when he grew up anyway, according to NBC, was Miguel Cabrera. First pitch outside here by Wells. Got to be careful with a guy like Acuna. One swing and could easily double the lead for the Braves. But he's not just a power hitter. He's got a lot of speed to him. He's a 5-tool player. Good arm on him as well. Pretty much does everything you could ask. Plays with a lot of swagger as well. We've seen that in years past had to be tamped down by the Braves management. And they've got a great player on their hands as he's matured Missed some time last year due to injury, of course. Braves won the title with him injured, actually, that year. That's why they had to bring in guys like Rosario, Peterson, etc., Soler. 1-2 here on Acuna. This one's fouled back to the screen, and 1-2. 46 pitches right now for Wells through 2 1/3 innings, 3 strikeouts. And of course, that 1 earned run, the home run by Matt Olson, who waits on deck. The set and the pitch. Hard hit, but right to the second baseman. Flips on to first, and Acuna is retired. 2 away here in the bottom of the third. Matt Olson due up next, hitting .252 on the year. Remember, he hit that home run back in the bottom of the first. 108 off the bat, and that's with him not getting all of it. So we'll see what he does here, if Wells makes another mistake or not. Wells being patient, waiting for Olson to get in the box, and he is ready. First pitch. Kind of lollipopped that curveball over the outside corner, tickled the outside of the corner, if you will, and it's 0-1. Looks like the strategy here is to work away to the left-handed hitter. This one misses well north of the zone, 1-1. We saw that in the first at-bat as well. The Orioles trying to work away from him, but that ball he hit for a home run just leaked a little bit too far back over, I think, than what Wells would have liked. And getting just enough to get it over the fence was Olson. Now 2-1. Austin Riley on deck. He struck out in his first plate appearance. Right down Broadway, a changeup fouled back to the screen, now 2-2. Olson got a good swing on it, but unable to keep it fair. Wells shakes off his catcher a couple of times. Is set. And the pitch. Another one a foot north of the zone, and it's 3-2 now. 2 away here in the bottom of the third. Appreciate all 25 of you guys joining us right now. Say hello, hit that subscribe, and like the video. It really does help us out. Thank you very much. Hard hit, high but well foul. Probably a good 100 feet foul down the first base line, but you can see the power a guy like Matt Olson possesses. Remains 3-2. Looks like a sellout crowd in there in Atlanta. Or darn near. This one's lifted high into left and making the catch there. And that's the end of the inning. Remains 1-1 through 3. Only run coming on that Matt Olson home run in the first inning. Appreciate you guys joining us here today. Finish up our discussion on that on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals, as I mentioned, they're going to go with Wilson Contreras. They're going to primarily play him in the outfield and a designated hitter now, as they're going to rely on his bat. Just that big contract he signed this offseason, one of the few times the Cardinals have really gone out there and identified, hey, I want this guy to be on my roster, and it almost always works out for him, but this time it's going to bite him, and I don't think anybody's going to take that contract right now, because if the Cardinals can't get him to work behind the plate, understandably they have a higher threshold of what they want from their catcher than what other teams may want from their catcher. But if other teams view Contreras now as a DH type of a guy, that contract right now does not justify the bat that you would have at that designated hitter spot. So the Cardinals might be stuck with that contract long term at this point, but maybe they can get him to improve his defensive capabilities behind the plate, maybe get Yadi Molina to work with him on the off days, etc. Maybe days when he's designated hitter, they can go to the batting cage during, certain situations and just have somebody throw him pitches. Grab a college or a high school pitcher and just have him block balls in front of the plate, or block balls that are bounced into him. All kinds of things that they could do to try to improve his defense. But right now, that seems to be the issue right now for the Cardinals that they've identified as the one spot they can improve is just by bringing in a more defensive-minded catcher than having a guy like that behind the plate. But right now, they've only got 10 wins this season. Just for frame of reference, the Oakland A's only have 8 wins. So, yeah. Take that with a grain of salt if you're a Cardinals fan. Just not a good start, and they could be a team that other teams need to look at the trade deadline as to what pieces you want to get off of this. Now, that's not to say that all of this streak is on Wilson Contreras. The bullpen has not been nearly as good as it has been in the past. The rotation has been terrible at times, and the offense just hasn't been able to string together base hits enough to be able to get enough run support when they do get some good, solid starting pitching. So the Cardinals are in a tough spot no matter which way you look at it. Austin Hayes digging in. Completely corkscrewed himself into the ground on that one. Fell, kind of stumbled all the way past the other batter's box, just completely losing his balance on that mighty rip. And it's 1-1. Just yikes. Settle down there, young fella. That one misses just off the outside corner, 2-1. Elder, this will be a pitch number 60 of the game here. Has 4 strikeouts. Have those 2 huge strikeouts in the third inning where the Orioles had the bases loaded. This one's grounded up the middle and off of the shin of Albies. Just kind of a nonchalant backhand stab at it. Albies missed it, and that's going to go as an error on the second baseman. He had a good couple of fast steps over there. I guess he thought he had the play in plenty of time, but just did not get the glove down. Just misread it, I guess. They're calling it a base hit. Ron Washington, one of the best infield coaches, infield fielding instructors in all of Major League Baseball. He was the instructor that got Marcus Semien when he was at shortstop for the Oakland A's to stop being an error machine when he was committing 30 errors a season. And to nowadays, well, before he turned over to second base anyway, he was one of the most consistent Gold Glove caliber shortstops, and that's all a result of the work of Ron Washington. He goes over to Atlanta after fixing Marcus Semien and has been there ever since. And he got Dansby Swanson coached up. He got Vaughn coached up as well. And seeing that one bounce off of the shin of Albies is not going to do well for Ron. I'm sure he's going to work with him after this inning and say, hey, why didn't you field that ball? What could we have done better? Why didn't we get the glove down in time? All those kinds of things. Quick pickoff move over to first. And back in there safely is Hayes. Frazier at the plate. Walked his first plate appearance. The 1-1 here by Elder. This one's lined down the right field line, and this one's going to get into the corner. Fielding it before it goes to the wall, though, is Acuna, and Hayes will be safe. This one gets past the second. Fielding it, or backing up the shortstop after that throw got away was Austin Riley. Good thing he was not on third base, because if he was, that throw would have been so far offline, both runners probably would have scored. We would have had a Little League inside the park home run. But nice work by Riley to not be on the base and field that ball as just an errant throw coming in from by Ronald Acuna. And for the second straight inning, runners at second and third with less than 2 outs here for the Orioles, as Frazier does the sprinkler out there on second base. A little tapper here. This will get a run home. This one goes to short and getting the out at first. Orioles will gladly trade the run for the out there. Urias getting the job done. Tough play there for Arcia. Good strong throw and getting Urias just in time. Just where that ball was hit and the throw kind of keeping Frazier at second. But in either event, it's now a tie ball game here in the 4th inning. Elder once again finding trouble, back-to-back innings. Good stretch there by Olson on that replay. Looks like Arcia thought about throwing to second behind the runner Frazier, see if they could catch the lead runner. This one misses outside, ball 1 to Stowers. He has struck out already in this game, dropped his average down to 118. This one's fouled away, and it's now 1-1. See if Elder can buckle down like he did last inning and struck out the last 2 hitters of the inning. Baltimore 12 comeback wins this season, tied for second most in all of Major League Baseball. I guess they did fall behind by 1 run here early, so comeback, I guess, question mark. This one's popped up just outside of third base. Riley makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And it'll be up to McCann to keep this inning going. Elder at 67 pitches, 3 2/3. Probably going to see him go 5, maybe a little bit more than that, especially with the stressful innings that he's had, the third and the fourth. First pitch here. This one's grounded hard to short. Arcia up plenty of time, throws to first, and that's the end of the inning. Through 3 1/3, or 3 1/2 anyway, it's tied at 1. Braves getting theirs on the home run by Matt Olson, and the Baltimore Orioles getting theirs here in the top of the fourth on that fielder's choice, or the ground out anyway, by Urias. It'll be Riley, Albies, and Rosario in the bottom of the fourth for the Braves. Last division here is going to be the NL West. Dodgers are on top right now, 20-14. But they're going up against the San Diego Padres tonight. We will have that game for you, the Sunday night baseball game. So make sure you join us at around 6 o'clock this evening for that one. But they've played pretty well, 7-3 over their last 10. They've still got some good starting pitching. They've stayed relatively healthy as well, but they no longer have that thump in the lineup. And yes, I say thump with Trey Turner. He's certainly improved his power numbers over the past year or two. But he's still a great on-base guy, a great speed guy, and they're certainly missing that in that Dodgers lineup right now. They don't necessarily have the great depth that they used to have, and they're still a very good team. They have Mookie Betts. They have Freddie Freeman. I mean, they are a good team. But are they as good as they were, say, last year or even the year before that or even the year before that? I would say they're a far cry from any of those teams. So this division is up for grabs. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks have played well to start the season, but I think they're playing a little bit above their heads. That offense is going to start to tick back down a little bit as we get later into the season, and their flaws in their pitching staff are going to start to show. For the Padres, though, that's probably the most balanced and loaded roster, both from a pitching perspective and an offensive perspective as well. They bring in, of course, Xander Bogaerts this offseason. They bring in Fernando Tatis Jr. back from suspension. Their rotation looks, for the most part, largely unchanged. And, of course, now they have a full season of Josh Hader. So their roster looks ready to go. I think May is when we're really going to see that lineup really start to click. Tatis Jr. just got back into the lineup on the 20th after having served that 80-game suspension. But the Padres will be I think they're going to be in great shape to possibly win this division and possibly win the entire National League, just based off of their roster construction. Is just really, really smart roster construction right now in San Diego. For the Giants, they're actually playing a little bit better recently than I would have thought. They're 15-17. They stole a couple of games on the road from the Houston Astros. And the Colorado Rockies right now, they just won a game against the New York Mets. They're 13-21. They've won a few games over the last 10. They're 6-4. But this division will be decided between the Padres and the Dodgers. Looks like we're back for the bottom of the fourth inning. Austin Riley digging in. He struck out in his first plate appearance. Swung on and missed. 1-1 now. Chasing that one low. Wells at 56 pitches through 3 innings so far. 3 strikeouts. Only has given up the 1 hit and no walks. One thing we've seen a lot when we've done these lives is that we've had really bad luck for those starting pitchers. Not a lot of pitchers out there that we've covered these games of have been able to avoid walking players. So good to see that it's not us that's jinxing these pitchers to throw a whole bunch of balls. But this one's bounced over to Urias. This time makes an accurate throw to first base. Retires Riley, 1 away here in the bottom of the fourth. If you guys are new here to the Upside, we cover Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NHL, and the NBA. Dallas Stars game 3 tonight. Stars versus Kraken. Depending on how quickly that Dodgers and Padres game ends, we might cover game 3 for those of you here. I am based in Texas, so I know I get a fair amount of my viewership from the Texas audience. The way YouTube works, it shows you a lot of stuff that's around you locally, or around you semi-locally, I'll put it that way, in your state anyway. And then kind of expands from there whenever you do your watch page, etc. This one's lifted, but settling under it is Frazier for the second out of the inning. It'll be up to Rosario to keep this one going. But just to kind of recap again, we're doing the Orioles and Braves right now. At around 3 o'clock, we'll either do the Rangers and Angels, depending on which one you guys prefer, or the Astros and Mariners at 3 o'clock. We'll do the Sunday night baseball game, Dodgers and Padres. And depending on how quickly that one ends, we may end up doing Game 3, Dallas versus Seattle for you guys of the NHL playoffs. Ball one here, well up and away to Rosario, who struck out back in the second inning, hitting .247 on the year, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, .291 on-base percentage. This one misses low, ball 2. I'm going to laugh if there's a walk immediately after I mentioned all the walks we've seen on these lives. Announcer's jinx. I don't know if you'd qualify me as an announcer, though. Ooh, that one is absolutely crushed, but well fouled down the first base line into the upper deck. 2-1 now. Right into the wheelhouse for Rosario, it looked like. And that's just a tough pitch right at the bottom of the zone. Just tickled the very bottom. I mean, just look at this right here. I don't know if you guys can see where that little arrow is pointing. Just where that little arrow right there beneath that little chat box right there is just, wow. He might have caught it by, I don't know, a hair. This one's dribbled into right field. Base hit for Rosario. His first hit of the game. I say dribbled. Sharp liner landed there and then just literally rolled out there to the right fielder. And it'll be Marcell Ozuna next. He's hitting .150 on the year. Again, this is probably the one spot in this lineup that could use some improvement, is the left field and DH combination. I'd say Ozuna is probably the most likely guy to be the odd man out of that rotation should they bring in somebody. One player that played for both of these teams, Nick Markakis, started his career with the Orioles, played great for them for the better part of about 10 years, and then kind of wrapped up his career most recently with the Atlanta Braves. This one's fouled back and it's quickly 0-2. But Markakis would have been that perfect piece in this lineup. But the injuries just kind of caught up to him over time, and he's no longer in Major League Baseball anymore. But he did get a World Series title out of it. So just a great overall career. Ooh. Good pickoff attempt by Wells, but a little errant. Up near the head of Rosario. Kind of whipped that ball over to first. Still 0-2 here on Ozuna. No need to throw him a pitch that he can drive, so up and in, and I mean just missed the corner. Both pitchers are working around the edge of the plate so far today, Elder and Wells. The 1-2. This one misses a little bit higher, and it's now 2-2. Last thing you need to do is give a struggling guy a pitch that's missing location right down the heart of the plate that he can drive and get out of those doldrums. Ozuna has produced well in the past, but isn't exactly the threat that he once was in this lineup. And that's the second disengagement there by Wells. Now we could see Rosario run, who does have some speed. He started his career with the Twins, went to the Guardians, went to the Cubs, Cubs and then Braves and then Guardians and then back to the Braves again. I think I might be off on that. Maybe I'm confusing Jock Peterson. Anyway. In either event, he was one of the outfielders brought in when the Atlanta Braves needed a whole new outfield that year they won the World Series due to injuries. Ozuna wasn't there. Markakis was out. Duvall was brought in as well. This one just off the outside corner, and we do see the first walk of the game for Wells. I'll take the blame on that one, mentioning the walks. Sorry, Oriole fans. Looks like we will see a mound visit here. 2 on, 2 out now. A little bit of a 2-out rally here by Rosario and Ozuna. I guess you could call a base hit and a walk a rally. Appreciate all 30 of you guys with us right now. Make sure you say hi. Drop us a like. Really does help us out. Send us a question. I know there's a lot of talk about all the injuries around Major League Baseball right now. We'll get into some of those here in the in between innings. Astros right now getting hit hard by that injury bug. No team probably being hit harder than the New York Yankees right now, though. Michael Harrison, 0 for 1. His average dropped to 214 now on the year. This one's hard hit, deep center, going back as Mullins at the wall and just in front of the wall makes the catch. Giving it a good hard ride there was Harris. Anywhere to the right or left of that probably gets in or over the wall anyway, but just to the wrong part of the ballpark on that one. And one pitch, and Wells gets out of that tough jam there. And through 4 innings, Braves and Orioles are tied at 1. Now, we mentioned there's a lot of injuries around Major League Baseball. We mentioned the Houston Astros were one of the teams getting hit hardest by that. By the way, Vida Blue passed away this morning, at the age of 73. What a great career. What a great ambassador for the game he was. And he will be missed by those who enjoyed watching him play. I, unfortunately, was not around at the time, but I have seen a fair amount of his games through past showings of games he played in, and just one of the better players we've ever seen in the game, and he will be missed. But as far as the injury bug, as I mentioned, the Astros were one of the teams being hit hardest. We mentioned Jose Altuve was out for the better part of 2 months. But they've also been hit hard by other injuries. Michael Brantley's not been in the lineup. Lance McCullers hasn't started yet for them. They have an injury as well to Jose Urquidy. And now they lose Luis Garcia, who, when he was pitching in the game the other day, he knew something was immediately wrong, waved to his catcher for him to come out, got his team to gather around him before they made the motion to the coaches to say, hey, come get me. He wanted to have a few words with his team on the mound because he knew what was wrong immediately, that he was going to have Tommy John. He felt that elbow go. And so they will be without another starting pitcher. And this is, of course, after they let Justin Verlander leave in free agency. Now, Hunter Brown has been great for them. He's probably going to step into that number 3-4 spot now in that rotation without having Luis Garcia there. Of course, Framber Valdez is still there. They still have some very good starting pitchers, Christian Javier as well. But they're needing some starting pitching now. I think they're going to have to go out there and trade for one here at the deadline. Something that was a very strong strength of them for the past few years, no longer the case. Other injuries, the Chicago White Sox, Eloy Jimenez is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks right now. Matt Harvey, by the way, announced his retirement. But we've seen a whole bunch of other starting pitchers go down due to injury. German Marquez of the Rockies, a guy who could have been available at the trade deadline for them, undergoes Tommy John. We mentioned that Jacob deGrom is now on the injured list. As Mullins lines this one into center, right to Harris. 1 pitch, 1 out for Elder here in the top of the 5th. But Robbie Ray is out for the season. He's going to have flexor tendon surgery. The Twins are without Tyler Mahle anyway. He's going to be out for about a month after he's going to be shut down to see if he can heal and avoid surgery as well. But we're seeing tons of injuries. The Angels game we watched the other day, Logan O'Hoppe, their catcher, who's off to a great start, came over at the trade deadline. Off the glove of Olson, backed up by Albies, making the catch, but unable to get his glove on the base is Elder. Albies made a good throw, but again, just a little bit offline, forcing Elder to make a stretch for it. Looks like that one was off the wrist of Olson high in the air, and Albies just sidearmed it, making Elder lunge for it. Ooh. Not sure if the Braves want to challenge this one or not. would probably say not. I mean, it's the fifth inning. There's not enough there to really overturn, I don't think, on all the replays I've seen. But it'll go down as a hit right now. I would say that would go down as an error. This one bounces in front of home plate and up the first base line. Not going, though, with Santander. And it's 1-0 here to Mountcastle. Mountcastle hitting .257, 8 homers, 26 RBIs, and a .278 on-base percentage. He's struck out and grounded into a double play so far today. Another one low. 2-0 now. Your scoring in the game, first inning home run by Matt Olson for the Braves, and in the fourth inning, Orioles finally cashed in on one of those runners who got into scoring position, with Urias grounding into grounding out to shortstop, allowing the runner to score from third. This one grounded foul outside of third base, and it's now 2-1. Elder again trying to work around the edges of the plate. He's up to 73 pitches through 4 1/3, 4 strikeouts, and that 1 earned run so far. A little bit of a questionable defensive play so far for Ozzie Albies here in the game. This one's lined into left center, or right center, excuse me, and making a nice running catch. Not having to get to quite dive for it is Acuna. And there's 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Nice defensive play. That looked like it was going to get down. But Acuna closed on it quickly and didn't even have to make a dive. But nice stretch there as he jogs back into position out there in deep right field now with Henderson up. Gunnar Henderson 0 for 2 with a strikeout here today. Takes ball 1 in the dirt. This would be a matchup I'd expect when Gunnar Henderson is on to be able to take advantage of. Somebody who doesn't necessarily throw hard, but right around the periphery of the plate. As soon as he gets that eye working a little bit better again, like we saw last year, then I think we'll see his numbers really jump up there, but hasn't had the greatest success as far as judging balls and strikes so far this season. This one, another one misses low and away, 2-0. Orioles sit 22-11 so far this year. Braves 23-11. His favorite player growing up was Randy Johnson and Corey Seager. Now you feel old. Those of you watching right now. Some of you may have been around to watch Randy Johnson pitch, and for those of you who weren't, probably one of the most intimidating pitchers to ever play the game. One of the greatest pitchers to ever play the game as well. The 2-1. This one's tapped back to the mound. Elder flips on to first. This time they get the out at first base. And through 4 1/2, 1-1 is our score. But Randy Johnson, Hall of Famer, pretty much was the Hall of Famer the second you saw him take the mound. Just how intimidating, how dominant he was on the mound. He would get a lot of outs, and just from his physical, imposing presence on the mound, really tall guy. And the way he was able to get the ball on you because of how tall and lanky he was, and then of course having that fireball in him as well. That ball got on you really, really quick. Kind of the precursor to what we see in the modern baseball right now, with everybody throwing hard velocity, whether you're tall or not. But that ability to get that ball out a little bit further before he finally threw it really got on hitters quickly, and he was a very effective starting pitcher. Corey Seager, one of the game's younger players right now, I guess. Older at the shortstop position by some of the other players in the league. Gunnar Henderson, one of those as an example. But his career got off to a great start with the LA Dodgers, got a World Series title there, and got that 10-year, $325 million contract with the Texas Rangers. He should be back here in the next week or so for the Rangers as well. And that Rangers offense right now is humming. Bringing back a bat like that should only make it that much better. And we'll see how the Rangers ultimately finish up. But good mix of players there with Randy Johnson and Corey Seager, the favorite players of Gunnar Henderson growing up. Randy Johnson's contemporaries at that time, best players in the pitchers in the league would probably been like Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling, pitchers like that, David Wells, David Cohn, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Bartolo Colon, kind of came in right at the end of his career. I know a lot of fans out there remember Bartolo being the, aging veteran, the overweight guy who could still throw the fastball through that one pitch, soft, would still manage to get the out. But Bartolo Colon, as a young guy, was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball with the Cleveland Indians. All right, we're back for the bottom of the fifth inning here. Wells back out for his fifth inning of work. 73 pitches so far. Finds the strike zone at the bottom of the zone to Arcia. This one's lifted foul. Will there be enough room here? I don't think so. Looks like it's off the netting. And 0-2 now. Umpire curious to see if everybody's okay after that one. This one misses well outside, 1-2. We mentioned that the Braves could use some improvement at the left field DH spot in their lineup as we get closer to the trade deadline, a couple months away. But other teams could use some improvement as well. The Baltimore Orioles could use a starting pitcher, you'd think. But I think they're going to rely primarily on improvement from within, bringing up their young guys, seeing if they can get some production out of them. Rodriguez came up earlier this year as far as a starting pitcher. He had a pretty good debut against the Texas Rangers, a team that's been great offensively, and he pitched well for the first 5 innings of his start. That one misses low, and it's now 3-2 here to Arcia. Tromp waiting on deck. Again, no Sean Murphy in the lineup right now, getting the day off after a night game. Darno is on the injured list right now. This one's lined into right center. This one will go to the wall, and it'll be an easy double here. And kind of jogging into second there is Arcia. Would have thought if maybe that ball bounced another time or stuck right up against the wall, then maybe Arcia might have tried for third, but looks like he wasn't trying to push it there. Just nice piece of hitting, taking that ball where it's pitched. Belt high, right on the outside corner. Nice piece of hitting there. Tromp is up next. He's 0 for 1, 133 average on the year. Takes ball 1. Braves off to a nice start here in the bottom of the fifth as they try to take the lead once again against this Orioles team. No home runs, 1 RBI so far on the season for Chadwick Tromp. A 133 on-base percentage. Not a whole lot of opportunities, though, for him. That one misses about 2 inches off the outside corner. It's been called occasionally for a strike so far today, but that one just had enough movement, I think, to force the umpire to make that ball call. And it's now 2-0 to the number 9 hitter. Nice cut fastball, letter high. Tromp looked like he was trying to send that one to Mars, and it's now 2-1. Just about came out of his shoes on that one. Not quite as hard of a swing as we saw Hayes give earlier this game, kind of falling into the other's batter's box. He twisted himself up so much on his hard swing, but still a pretty good effort there. Wells bluffs the throw to second, and that'll be the first disengagement. Just making sure Arcia doesn't get too big of a lead. A base hit probably scores him, though, anyway. He does run well. This one's popped up. This one looks like it'll get into foul or out of play as well. Looks like it ends up about 35 rows back down the first base line. It's 2-2 here in the bottom of the fifth. No outs. Arcia on second right now. Wells up to 82 pitches, 45 strikes. Would like to see that strike percentage a little bit higher. That Orioles bullpen, though, has been nothing short of dominant. That'll be their calling card if they get into a postseason series. They can really shorten the game, but you don't want to overuse it in the regular season, that's for sure. You want to have some better starting pitching. That way you can allow your bullpen to have a day off here and there. Not force them to work 5-6 innings every time they come in. This one's lifted foul into the upper deck. Still 3-2 right now. Got to straighten one of these out if you're Trump. Arcia telling him to calm down, relax, see the ball. Out there at second base. The 3-2. Nice pitch. Another cut fastball. That's working very well for him right at the top of the zone. That's Wells' fourth strikeout. Trump is 0 for 2 in the game. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is up next. Appointment television, as I mentioned, he's 0 for 2 so far today. So far this season, he's tied for second in hits, first in runs. Bunch of steals as well. One of the greatest players in all of baseball right now. Probably have to put him in that top 10 for sure. Probably say right now the top 3 is Aaron Judge offensively would be him number 1. And then you'd have to put Trout and Ohtani in there as the 2-3. This one misses ball 1. This one right down the middle, that cutter again, but fouled off, and it's 1-1 now. Wells unafraid to kind of throw a strike here to Acuna. Acuna Jr. has the third highest on OPS anyway ever in Braves history. Hank Aaron, Chipper Jones, the only ones higher. This one misses well inside, 2-1. Snitker looking on intently at Wells. Seeing if he sees anything, I suppose. 2-1. This one's lifted high, but right to the right fielder. And Arcia will stay at second. Oh, no, he's going to go. This one gets away from the third baseman, and Arcia takes a couple of steps. Did he leave early, though, is my question. I mean, he runs well, but he was already 3/4 of the way to third base. Looking at the replay here. Yep, he did leave right on time. Just a little bit risky there. I mean, there's just 2 outs now. You don't want that third out to be at third base. Looks like we will have a mound visit here. Matt Olson up for his 3rd time. Remember, he took Wells deep back in the first inning. 413 feet off the bat. 108 miles an hour off the bat as well. Just didn't quite get all of it. It just got off the end of the bat. Otherwise, it would probably have gone 480, 500 feet. Olson just has that much power. You could see Olson's face when he swung at it. He wasn't sure that it was going to be enough to get out, but he has prodigious power and just able to muscle that one out. Tomahawk chop is alive and well in Atlanta right now. Runner on third, 2 away. Tough position here for Wells. Foul, or kind of a check swing foul, if you will. Austin Voth is loosening for the Orioles in the bullpen, the righty. Wells is up to 90 pitches, 4 2/3. And that one misses. It's now 1-1. Nibbling at that corner. Wells wanted that one. The 1-1. About 6 inches north of the zone, but Olson swings at it anyway, fouls it back to the screen. Now 1-2. Olson upset with himself on that one. Ooh. They have that camera right behind home plate. I mean, the camera's right here. That ball landed about right there. Allen misses low, and it's now 2-2. Wells starting to pick up the pace once again. Breathing hard out there. This probably will be the final hitter of the game for Wells. Not a bad start, but again, you'd like to see your starter go deeper. He's not exactly thrown a ton of strikes, but is starting to find the strike zone a little bit more frequently. He's only walked 1 in the game. A lot of 2 and 3 ball counts. Fouled off by Olson once again. Remains 2-2. Braves trying to take the lead here in the bottom of the fifth. Runner on third, 2 away. Olson up. This one misses well inside. Just misses hitting that back knee of Olson. Now 3-2. Welcome back, Jose. Appreciate you. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good day for most of the country. Got some cloud cover where I am anyway. The 3-2 tapped out to first base, flipped on to Wells covering at first, and Olson is retired. Nice work here by Wells. We'll see if he comes back out for the 6th inning, but it looks like he's laboring pretty good right now. I would say he's probably done. We'll see the Orioles bullpen, I'd imagine, in the 6th. But we go to the top of the 6th. 1-1 our score. Appreciate you guys joining us here on a Sunday afternoon now here Central Time. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button or liked the video already, please do so. You guys have no idea how much that actually helps us out. But if you wouldn't mind doing so, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. But we kind of went over the standings from around baseball. We touched a little bit on some of the news headlines as far as the injuries from around Major League Baseball. One thing we touched a little bit on but haven't really elaborated on is the trades that are starting to percolate out there. We've seen some movement from around the league anyway. We saw Javi Guerra go from the Brewers to the Rays. We saw Trevor Megill go from the Twins to the Brewers. We're seeing a lot of movement out there as far as back into the roster moves. However, as we get closer into the summer months, we're going to see some of that trade deadline chatter start to pick up. Now, we went over the standings right now, and a couple of teams we identified already as teams who might be sellers that we didn't think would have been at the start of the season. The Chicago White Sox primarily, and the St. Louis Cardinals. Both of those teams have some great pieces that could be available at the trade deadline. You look at the White Sox, a guy like Liam Hendricks, a lot of teams or a lot of fan bases out there are clamoring for bullpen help right now. As a Texas Ranger fan, I know the Rangers absolutely need to get some bullpen help. And so a guy like Liam Hendricks, if he comes back healthy, could be an option there. You look at the St. Louis Cardinals, they have Ryan Helsley in their bullpen. Some closer options are going to be out there. The Guardians, they're not going to be able to afford a guy like Emmanuel Clase, who's struggling right now to find the strike zone more than he has in the past. He's probably the second best closer in the entire game outside of Edwin Diaz, but he could be another guy that could be moved at the deadline if you offer up the right price. But a team like the Baltimore Orioles, we mentioned, could use a starter at the deadline. We talked a little bit about some of the injuries to a guy like German Marquez. That could have been a guy that would have worked well for a team like Baltimore. A deadline acquisition that might have worked, a low-cost option that gives you some length that is under control as well. I think that would have been a great addition for the Baltimore Orioles. First pitch here, second pitch anyway, is fouled off by Hayes, and it's quickly 0-2 here to Hayes here in the 6th inning. 1 for 2 with a strikeout. Also scored that one run for the Baltimore Orioles. But I think the Orioles are definitely going to need at least one starting pitcher before the end of the season, whether that's through the waiver wire, whether they get that through internal improvement, whether they bring up somebody through their minor league system, or they go out there and trade for it. They're going to have to bring in one more starter, I think, to really solidify this team. For the Braves, I think this is more about solving their issues in the left field DH column. They have enough talent pretty much around the diamond. Their starting pitching should be just fine. They could use an arm if they have an injury, I suppose, but I think they could use some more offensive improvement at that left field DH spot. Get some better production out of that roster spot and kind of go forward from there. Elder switches out the ball in the 2-2 here to Hayes. Elder up to 82 pitches, 48 strikes, 4 strikeouts. Gave up that 1 run in the 4th. 5th round draft pick in that 2020 draft. Remember, that draft was only 5 rounds. From Decatur High School in Texas. But again, Braves finding some success with their draft. It's probably one thing they do better than most other teams out there. The Rays are probably the only other team that can hold a candle to that. That one misses inside, and that's a walk here for Elder. That's the 3rd one of the game, and we will get a mound visit here in the 6th. Been a lot of traffic on the base paths the last 3 innings for Elder. Last thing you want to see if you're a Braves fan right now is more base runners, more free passes. And as we mentioned before, a lot of the times we've been covering these games live, we've seen a lot of walks in these games. This one started out with being pitched very well, not a lot of walks, and now we've already seen 3 here by the Braves over the last few innings. Braves get their bullpen going. Getting a righty up and tossing out there. Now this is something I like. His favorite player growing up was Michael Young. Consummate professional for the Texas Rangers, more than willing to shift around wherever the Rangers needed him to play. That was Elder's favorite player when he was a kid. Growing up in Decatur, he probably was a Ranger fan. The 1-0. This one's rolled out to second. Albies to second. Sia onto first. Not in time, but they do get the lead runner. Nice play there by Albies. Doing 2 hands on that, fielding that ball there. We've seen him make a couple of nonchalant plays, and it cost the Braves so far. But 1 out now. Adam Frazier takes over as the runner on first. On the force out at second. Urias 0 for 2, but has that RBI on that ground out to short last time up. Pickoff attempt over there to Frazier. Frazier does run well, but we'll see if they're able to get him to second with less than 2 outs here. See if they decide to try to have him steal. Elder set. And the pitch. Well inside by about a foot. And it's 1-0. Got about 25 to 30 of you watching right now. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Nice off-speed pitch finds the zone, 1-1. Urias hitting .280 on the year, does have a home run. And as we said, already drove in a run today. That one finishes low, another off-speed pitch. 2-1. This will probably be the final inning here for Elder, already up to 89 pitches. This one's fouled off, and it's quickly 2-2. Frazier was off on the pitch that time. See if they try to do another hit and run here. Something we're seeing a lot more of is actual movement on the base paths. Bases being larger, 2 disengagement rule for the pitcher. All those types of things, and we're finally seeing some movement. It's really helping as far as viewership. We're getting a lot more viewership to the game so far this year than we've seen in years past as well. Game time has also been cut by about 30 minutes, which also helps. Not as much dead time during the game. This one is tapped and just rolls foul of third base. Would have been a tough play there for Riley to try to catch Urias, and it remains 2-2. Elder at 91 pitches through 5 1/3, 4 strikeouts today. Before their game, they were kind of comparing him to a modern-day Greg Maddux, how he's not necessarily known for his overpowering stuff. I'd say that's true about Elder. Doesn't necessarily throw 97, but he's very good as far as trying to throw around the edges, but we've seen that from a lot of pitchers. I'd say Martin Perez probably emblemized as that a little bit more than Elder, but in a Braves uniform, it's hard to pass up the similarities between the two. And that one misses a good couple inches north of the zone. 3-2. Full count here. 1 out in the top of the 6th. Elder looks like he's starting to labor now too. We saw Wells laboring in the bottom half of the 5th. Elder's now laboring in the top of the 6th. Nice at bat here by Urias. Taps this one foul, and we'll do it again. 3-2 still. Frazier was again off with the pitch on that one. He's got to have a good read on him by now. Looks like we'll have a mound visit here by the catcher. Make sure they're on the same page. Last time we saw this, Elder bounced one in and hit Santander in the foot to load the bases. So hopefully they have better results this time after a mound visit. Again, this is our first game of our triple header today. At about 3 o'clock, we'll either have the Houston Astros and Seattle Mariners, based on whichever game you prefer, or the Texas Rangers and the LA Angels. This one's tapped foul right in between where you really don't want it if you're a fella. Just bounced off the turf and right where you really don't want it. Just ouch. Just perfect. Boom. It wasn't a glancing blow. It was a full shot. So I think he's thankful for a piece of protective equipment. I'll put it that way. Trump is shaking his head like, really? Come on, man. Puts the sign down. Looks like Elder's ready. Frazier and Olson have a nice laugh about it at first. Frazier is off with the pitch. This one's lifted foul once again and out of play. Really making Elder work in this at bat. Nice at bat here by Urias. Even if he strikes out at this point, this will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. He's been working primarily sinker slider this at bat. No fastballs yet. The 3-2. This one bounces in the dirt and ball 4. Urias, what an at bat. 10 pitch at bat there. And now that pushes Frazier to second base. We'll get another mound visit here. We'll see if this is going to be it for Elder. Looks like it is. Snitker is coming out, makes the motion. And Elder literally looks like he's laboring out there, so I don't mind the pitching change here at all if I'm the Braves. Really would have liked to have seen him get through 6, but that long at bat really burned the rest of what Elder had today. But good on the Orioles for making him work during this 6th inning. And they got 2 on with only 1 out. It'll be Stowers, McCann, and Mullins due up next. Colin McHugh is coming in for the Braves. The former Astro and Marlin also spent some time in the international leagues. Went to Japan. I think he played for the Reds at one point as well. But Orioles really get something going here. Now for McHugh, let's kind of check in on his numbers. Welcome in, Vaughn. Cardinals suck. Hate baseball now. Is this what it's like to be a Cub fan? Well, the Cubs, they had a run where they were going through a rebuild. I would say this is not what it's like at all to be a Cub fan. I mean, that rebuild is different than having a poor start to your season when you're expected to win the division. I mean, for those of you wondering, I actually picked the Cardinals to win the NL Central this year. I just thought they had pretty much all the tools. Their lineup looked pretty solid. They looked like they staved off some downplay at the catcher spot with bringing in Wilson Contreras, who obviously is now not going to be there. But McHugh, this will be his 8th game of the year. He's been in 7, 1-0 record, 2.70 earned run average in 10 innings, 3 walks to 4 strikeouts, and a 3.42 opponent average. Looks like he's more of a pitch to contact guy. Hopefully he avoids the right amount of contact here. We'll see if the Orioles pinch hit for either of the bottom 2 in their lineup right now. The game in the balance. They do have some guys that they could go to. Mateo, McKenna, Rushman, and Torrens all could have all could be great options to come in. Welcome in, Singood. Not convinced the Pirates are as good as they've seen at the moment. I agree, but they've shown some great improvement from what everybody thought they would be. I think all of us thought they'd finish probably fourth or fifth in that NL Central, and if anybody's saying otherwise, they're lying to you. But first pitch here, tapped foul by Stowers. A little bit surprised we're not seeing McKenna pinch hit. McKenna hitting 306 on the year, or a Rutschman hitting 285. A spot like this with only one out, maybe you're just trying to see if you can give some confidence to Stowers, I guess. The 0-1, now 0-2. McHugh missed well inside, but chasing it was Stowers. The bullpen for the Braves has been absolutely terrible at home. A 537 earned run average, on the road only a 224. Time by the batter. But I'd say the Cardinals need to start thinking about what they're going to do at the trade deadline if they continue to play this poorly. Swing and a miss, just absolutely flummoxed by what McHugh was trying to do to him there. And Stowers is retired. We do get a pinch hitter here. Adley Rutschman is now pinch hitting here. If you're going to pitch hit for McCann, why didn't you pinch hit for Stowers? I don't get it. You could have had McKenna pinch hit there. Just not a smart decision, I think, by the Baltimore Orioles manager right there. Maybe you want to save him for later in the game, but this is the moment in the game where I would have used McKenna first. If he grounds into a double play, great. Then you still have Adley Rutschman on the bench. If he doesn't and he gets a base hit, then you've already gotten the success, and you bring up Rutschman and keep a good inning going. But ball one here. I do not understand that thought process there for the Baltimore Orioles manager. Not pinch hitting for Stowers. I get it. You want to give confidence to your guy, but come on, the guy's hitting 100 right now. 2-0 now to Adley Rutschman. And now McHugh's gotten loose. The 2-0. That one just on the outside corner. Gets the call, and it's 2-1. I don't know, questionable call by the manager there of the Orioles not to pinch hit for Stowers there. Especially if you're just going to pinch hit for your catcher anyway right after it. Why not double down and get a little bit better production at the plate with a couple runners on and only one out? That one bounces in the dirt, but Rutschman supposedly held up according to the third base umpire. That one looked close to me. And I would probably say he almost went around. I'd probably say he got about 48% of that bat head around. Get to 50, and that's a strike. The 3-1 here to Rutschman. That one misses high, and that loads the bases for Cedric Mullins. You think they'll have some sort of miracle win streak? Well, they're going to have better defensive play at least behind the plate after moving Contreras out from behind the dish. So we should see at least some improvement defensively. But the bigger issue for them is their pitching hasn't been very consistent. And having a more defensive-minded catcher, maybe somebody who can handle a pitching staff better, will make them work a little bit better. But we'll see. Mullins taps this one foul. His career with the bases loaded, a .407 average. All three times he's come up this year with the bases loaded, he's got a double, a home run, and 11 RBIs. Wow. That one misses by a good foot and a half, almost 2 feet outside. 1-1. Vlad Jr. dealing with some wrist issues, yeah. You always want to see each team at their best. You want your team to win, obviously, but you never want the other team to have the excuse, well, we didn't have our best player in the game. You want to have the ability to say, hey, we actually beat you guys straight up. So the 2-1 here. Bottom of the zone, lifted foul down the third base line. Now 2-2, bases loaded, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Big moment here in the ball game. Mullins takes a deep breath. As I mentioned, Mullins this year with the bases loaded, 3 for 3. His career versus Colin McHugh, though, he's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. And that one misses south of the zone. It's now 3-2, bases loaded. Runners will be off with the pitch. The set by McHugh and the pitch. Swung on and missed. Make it 0 for 6 with 5 strikeouts. What a great finish to the inning there for Colin McHugh. Gives up the walk to Rutschman. That's just fine. I'll get Cedric Mullins, and he gets the job done. Ugh. Still, I don't agree with the manager of the Orioles not pinch hitting for Stowers there. That was another opportunity to have, somebody in there who's had more success at the plate this year. They surrendered an out easily. And an opportunity goes by the wayside. Ball game still tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th, but that was a real opportunity there for the Orioles. They do get Elder out of the game, though, and we'll see if Wells comes back out. I do not think he will, especially after sitting that long. He looked like he was pretty much gassed the last half inning he was in, so we shall see. Appreciate you guys joining us on a Sunday afternoon. As I said, we will have a triple header for you guys today. We'll have the Baltimore Orioles and Atlanta Braves here right now, obviously. At the 3 o'clock hour, we'll probably have the Rangers and Angels or the Houston Astros and Mariners. You guys let us know in the comment section which game you'd like us to cover. And then in the nightcap, we'll have the Dodgers and Padres at 6 o'clock. If that game finishes early enough, we might do some hockey for you guys this evening and cover the Stars and Kraken. I'm going to be watching that game anyway, but if that Sunday night baseball game finishes early, I might do it live for you guys here on the air. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We really do appreciate all the support we've gained over the past couple of years since we started this up. We crossed the 1,300 subscriber mark this week. But slowly but surely getting some of our goals accomplished, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to do this for you guys even more. We'd like to put out a lot more short format videos for you guys. We put out a few of them this week about the Rangers and their dire need for bullpen help right now. A little bit about the Cowboys and their possibility of re-signing Ezekiel Elliott. But we go here to the bottom of the 6th inning. Looks like we will have a pitching change. Austin Voth coming in. It'll be Riley, Albies, and Rosario for the Braves here in the bottom of the 6th. Through 10 games, he's got 15 and 2/3 innings pitched, a .517 earned run average for Voth. 4 walks to 15 strikeouts. Has given up a few home runs, though, 5 to be exact, and a .270 batting average against. Riley, of course, signed that long-term deal with the Braves last year. Rutschman stays in the game at catcher. Would like to have seen him get the day off, honestly, but a good opportunity to get him in there with a chance to drive in some runs there. And they do have one more catcher they could go to at the back end of this roster, but they decided to go ahead and keep Rutschman's bat in the game. He is still young, I suppose. Getting him out of the game for at least 5 innings of catching works to their advantage. They do DH him occasionally as well. So the Orioles do have ways of getting Adley Rutschman some days out from behind the dish. He is their MVP candidate, if you will, when he is on. 1-1 here to Riley. Allen misses well, low and away. Bounced in the other batter's box, and it's now 2-1. If you're just joining us, Matt Olson got a home run back in the first inning against the starter Tyler Wells for the Baltimore Orioles. 108 miles an hour off the bat, 413 off the end of the bat to left center field. Olson just muscling it out over the fence. Riley off the end of the bat taps it back to the screen, and it's now 2-2. Orioles getting a run across in the 4th inning on a ground out to the shortstop anyway. Drove in the run Hayes, but Orioles have had their chances offensively in this game. Braves have only missed like 1 or 2 opportunities, but the Orioles really had their opportunities in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and now the 6th inning. and have only cashed in the 1 run. So we'll see if that's going to be a situation that they'll come to regret not pinch hitting there for Stowers. Now 3-2 here on Austin Riley. 0 for 2 with a strikeout in the game so far. The pitch, lifted high in the air. Riley flips his bat down in disgust. And this was caught by the right fielder, Stowers. 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Albies 0 for 2 in the game. Has a couple of miscues in the field anyway. Had one bounce off of his shin. Had another throw that he sidearmed and pulled Elder off the bag. That cost the Braves a couple of outs that added to Elder's pitch count earlier today. Hopefully he can make some amends for it if you're a Braves fan right here. Right on the inside corner, maybe just a fraction inside, and it's now 1-0. Hitting .289 on the year, 9 home runs, 26 RBIs. Pretty good home run count for a second baseman. The 1-0. Nice curveball paint on the outside corner, 1-1. That had a lot of movement on it. Looked like it was started out like a foot and a half outside and came back over the inside corner. Tries the same thing, but this time not able to bend it back over the corner. Now 2-1. Baltimore 22-11 so far this season. Atlanta 23-11. Both teams are off to great starts. This one's hard hit, right down the first base line, but foul. Now 2-2. Orioles really missing an opportunity there in the 6th. Runners first and second. I know you had the 8-9 in the lineup coming up, but you easily pinch hit there for Stowers and McCann, and you got a real good chance there. Off-speed pitch, low and away, gets the chase by Albies, and that's the first strikeout of the game for Voth. Rosario next. He is 1 for 2, struck out in the game and had a base hit into right his last time up. Misses just a little low. 1-0. 255 average, 3 homers, 10 RBIs for the left fielder. This one finds the zone, 1-1. We mentioned the great postseason that Rosario had for the Braves. Likely they don't win the World Series without having Rosario's performance in that ALCS and in the World Series. He was dynamic. Jorge Soler getting the World Series MVP award that year. Immediately signed that contract, 3-year deal with the Miami Marlins in hopes of bringing them some offense. Suffice to say, it didn't work out the way the Marlins had hoped. That's why they go out there and make the move for Luis Arraez, trading away a guy who could be a number 1 in somebody's rotation, number 2 for sure in Pablo Lopez. He's been great for the Twins, but that offense is significantly better with the addition of Luis Arraez. Soler not exactly having the greatest couple of years there in Miami. Now 2-2. This one's grounded to second. Frazier makes the toss to first. And that's the end of the 6th inning. We go to the 7th. 1-1 our score. It'll be Santander, Mountcastle, and Henderson. 2, 3, 4 in that Orioles lineup. Just crossing the 2-hour mark of this game right now. As I mentioned earlier, all the rule changes around Major League Baseball. One of them, of course, the pitch clock has certainly shortened games to probably about a 2.5-hour game, a little bit more than that in some places, but looks like we're pretty much right on track for that right now. Probably end up being in that 3-hour range depending on if we go into extra innings or not. We mentioned the great start Ronald Acuna has gotten off to. Oh. Welcome in, Jared, new subscriber. Do you think the Orioles are for real matching up with the Braves? Actually, I do. I really like the changes they've made to their approach. I think there's still some talent left to tap into on that Orioles lineup. The one issue, of course, that I have is that rotation for the Orioles. I still think they need at least one more starter to bring in, whether that be from improved performance this year, whether that be from the guys they already have, whether that be from bringing somebody up that's not already in that rotation, or for trading for somebody. But I think offensively, they got enough pieces right now to be able to compete to win the division in the American League East. And that's saying something because all 5 guys are at the top of that rotation, or at the top of that division right now. All 5 teams are at the top of that division. But I'm curious to see if the rotation comes around for that Baltimore Orioles team. As for the Braves, of course, they've gotten some great pieces on their team over the last couple of years. They've done it largely by growing from within. Orioles have done it pretty much the same way, not quite to the same level as a team like the Braves, obviously. You look at guys like Gunnar Henderson and a couple other pieces they have coming in the minors, Holiday, etc. They have some really high ceiling guys that are coming, but nobody's near the level of a guy like Acuna right now. Matt Olson, I would say, is probably better than most of the other players on the Baltimore roster, outside of maybe Rushman and Mullins. Those are kind of your 1-2 right now if you're the Orioles. (0-2) here on Santander. That one misses now 1-2. McHugh out for his second inning of work. But thank you for subscribing, Jared. Really helps us out. We appreciate that. Santander pops this one up behind first base. Right on the line is Olson. Makes the catch. 1 away. Mountcastle due up next. But as I mentioned, the Orioles have had their opportunities to take the lead in this ball game. Braves have not played great so far. Just the one blast there by Olson is really the only significant threat the Braves have posed all day long. Fouled back to the screen, 0-1. That one misses low and away, 1-1. A lot of talk right now about how young the Baltimore Orioles are, and that's true. But I also think that guys like Mountcastle, they're still counting as young because he's 26 or under. I mean, you're not talking about guys that are going to be around or that are at the same ceiling of guys like Olson, Albies, Acuna as well. They're going to have to rely on Henderson hitting his ceiling. They're going to have to rely on Mullins continuing to play well as he ages. He came up a little bit older than most as Mountcastle grounds out to short there. But the Orioles right now are the 3rd youngest team in the majors. They do have a very good bullpen. The question for them is, do they have enough starting pitching? I think they're going to have to invest some free agent dollars in this offseason. There's not going to be anything really on the offensive side to help anybody. But if they wanted to go out there and get a starting pitcher like a Julio Urias or any one of the other starters that are going to be on the market this offseason, this is the offseason to really go out there and get a starting pitcher. The Rangers really bought a whole bunch of starting pitching this offseason, going out there and bringing back their own guy, Martin Perez, on that qualifying offer. Then they went out there and got Jacob deGrom. They got Andrew Heaney. And then finally, when they saw that the market hadn't moved yet on Nathan Eovaldi, they go out there and get him for 2 years plus an option, $17 million per year. And, oh, by the way, he's done nothing but throw 20 scoreless innings in a row now for the Rangers. Something like that would be what I would expect the Orioles to do next. Do I expect them to spend at the level the Rangers did this offseason? Absolutely not. But bringing in, say, 1, maybe 2 starting pitchers. Kyle Gibson's there this year on a 1-year deal. He may be or may not be back, but I think they need a top-of-the-line rotation, top-of-the-rotation starter for them to really take their next step. As Henderson swings at a bad pitch, well low and in, but McHugh gets the 1-2-3, and we go to the bottom of the 7th, tied 1-1. Henderson having some severe struggles right now at the major league level. I wonder if they decide to option him at some point just to build some of that confidence back. He is a supremely confident player anyway, but just to get him some success, moving in the right direction again. maybe something will have to happen there. Mateo's played great for them so far this season, and so with him playing so great, this gives you the opportunity to still maintain a high level of play while allowing, Henderson to get some playing time down at the minor league level and get that bat going in the right direction. But Mateo should probably be the everyday starter right now at shortstop. I'd say Urias should probably be the everyday starter right now at third, at least until Henderson can figure things out at the plate again. But this is the opportunity for the Orioles to try to solve those types of issues. They're not a team that's expected to win the series this year. They're a team that's expected to compete for the division, to compete for a wild card spot. If they get in the wild card, it's a successful season for the Orioles. If they get in as the winner of the American League East, that's a supremely successful season. If they do anything, win a series in the playoffs, they're way above schedule, or way ahead of schedule. So for Baltimore Orioles fans out there, I'd be happy with the start you're on, but I'd also look for opportunities to improve and not think, the sky is falling just because one of your top prospects isn't exactly hitting at the greatest at the major league level. So sending him down isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you've got Mateo and Urias playing so well right now early in the season. Take advantage of it. Mateo, I would not have expected to hit north of 200 coming into the season. He's hitting like 300 right now. You're getting some good production out of McKenna. Rutschman, of course, is having another Rutschman-like year. Mullins is a stolen base threat every time he gets on there, even more so than he ever has been. So there's some opportunities for the Orioles to try to improve, and just some internal improvement from, say Henderson going down, getting some confidence, coming back up, hitting 275, 280 the rest of the year is something I would consider very feasible. You could see Holiday at some point later on this year or next. That's where you're going to see the real next step in the Orioles' development, along with bringing in a top-of-the-line, frontline starting pitcher this offseason. So if you're an Orioles fan, you just kind of start keeping your eye toward the winter of towards the hot stove season this offseason and just see which pitcher you really want. I think Urias could be a guy that could be had, especially when you consider the Dodgers are a team that's going to try to bring in Shohei Ohtani. They're going to be spending roughly $50-60 million a year on a player like that. They tried to save some money this year. That's why they lost Trey Turner in free agency and didn't really do anything to replace him. So maybe going out there and getting a Julio Urias could be what the doctor ordered for a team like the Baltimore Orioles. On the Braves side of things, as we mentioned, kind of their one hole in their lineup is their left field DH spot. And I think Ozuna is probably going to be the odd man out. He's going to lead things off here in the bottom of the seventh, unless they decide to pinch hit for him. He is their DH today. As far as options on the bench, they have Hilliard, Murphy, Pilar, and Shoemake. Shoemake still looking for his first hit of the year. Only played a couple of games, though. The rest of them are hitting over 266, so they have some good options to go to on the bench. Might not want to use Murphy as a pinch hitter here, just because you only have the one catcher, as they once again show Dabo Sweeney out there in attendance in full Braves gear. Coach of the Clemson Tigers football team. Austin Voth looks like he's coming out for his second inning of work here. Only threw 16 pitches in that sixth inning. Ozuna has reached on an error in the second, had a walk in the fourth. Has a 388 slug, even though his average is only at that 150 mark, so does have quite a bit of power. If you're Ozuna, though, you're starting to run low on some opportunities here to make consistent contact. Stay in the lineup, all those things. Especially with everybody beneath you on that roster, on that bench, hitting well. Another one right on the inside corner. It's now 0-2 quickly here to Ozuna. Just absolutely dotting that inside corner. Voth throwing well today. Again, that Baltimore's Orioles bullpen is one of the best in baseball this year. This one, kind of a check swing off the end of the bat. Making a nice play on it, though, is Mountcastle. And Voth is over there covering at first for the first out of the seventh inning. Appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Appreciate those of you who have already done so. Thank you very much. Michael Harris Due up next. Had a nice drive out to center field last time he was up, but ultimately was caught. He is 0 for 2 on the day. Nice curveball there on the outside corner. Makes the catch. Or makes the strike call there. They're showing catches anyway of Andrew Jones out there in center. He is one of the commentators right now for NBC. Matt Vasgersian as well. Showing some of his impressive catches. Showed his son as well making an impressive catch in single-A baseball. Harris hitting .209 now on the year. The 1-1. Curveball misses well outside. 2-1. It'll be Arcia and Trump should they get that far this inning. Got to imagine if they get to that number 9 spot, we could see Sean Murphy come in as a pinch hitter for Trump. Nice pitch. Another one dotted right on the corner. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. 2-2. This one's off the end of the bat, lifted into left center, I should say. And Mullins is there in plenty of time to make the catch. 2 away. Orlando Arcia due next. Had that double into right his last time up. 1 for 2. Also been struck out in the game as well. And Voth is cruising right now. 24 pitches so far in the game. Inning and 2/3. Look at that slugging percentage right now for Arcia. .540. His batting average up to .340 right now. Remember, he's missed some time after taking that hit by pitch off of his hand earlier this year. That's why that batting average is so high so quickly. The 0-1 misses well outside, 1-1. Off-speed pitch gets Arcia to chase that one beneath the zone. It's now 1-2. Braves down to their final strike here in the 7th. It's been a well-pitched game. Orioles had some opportunities to drive in some runs and haven't really cashed in on it. Braves not quite as many opportunities, but I mean, they're the Atlanta Braves. They're one of the best teams in all of baseball so far this year. Orioles only a half game back of the Braves overall. 23 wins for the Braves, 22 for the Orioles. 2-2 count. Unable to hold up this time, and they do get him to chase. That's the 3rd out of the inning. Another strikeout here. So far through 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Orioles. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for the Braves. We go to the 8th. We'll see if the Braves go ahead and switch to a different reliever. McHugh was very effective for inning and 2/3, I believe. It'll be Hayes, Frazier, and Urias. If one of those reaches, you'd imagine they're going to pinch hit this time for Stowers. As we see the Guardians take a 1-0 lead on the Twins in the 1st inning. We're talking a little bit about the great start Ronald Acuna is off to this year. Today, not so much of a great day for him, but 131 plate appearances so far, or at bats so far this year. 46 hits, good for a .351 average and an OPS over 1,000. On base percentage is over .440, so he's been very effective so far this year. The key for them, as I've mentioned a couple different times, is just staying healthy. If they can just keep him healthy and into the playoff run, what a dynamic talent he would be in the middle of that lineup. He does rise to the occasion as well. We've seen a couple of players, mainly the Tampa Bay Rays have one in Randy Arozarena. who I've seen kind of raised to that same type of a level before. The Padres have one in Manny Machado that just raise their level of play when they get to those pressure-packed situations, and they just seem to come through time after time after time. Manny Machado, of course, has done this for multiple years. Started, of course, with the Baltimore Orioles for all those years, and then signed that huge contract with the Baltimore Orioles or with the San Diego Padres after being traded by the Orioles to the Dodgers. This one's tapped foul, and it's 0-2 here quickly. McHugh is out for his third inning of work. A little bit surprising. They're giving him the ball once again. That one misses low, well outside, and it's 1-2 now. We're in the top of the 8th inning. 1-1 is the score. Guardians have now taken a 2-0 lead over the Twins, as games are just starting to get underway around the rest of the league right now. This game, of course, was the Sunday leadoff game for Peacock and NBC at 10:35. This one's tapped back to McHugh, underhands it to first, and Hayes is retired for the first out of the 8th. 30 pitches so far for McHugh, 3 strikeouts. He's been dominant since he's been out there. Not exactly a guy you'd look at and say, hey, this is a dominant guy, but he's pitched well, and looks like he got what Snitker wanted him to. Got him full 2 innings here. Looks like they're going to go to the bullpen. Snitker says, great job. Let's pass the baton. And we will have a pitching change. It looks like Dylan Lee will be coming in out of the bullpen for the Braves. While we wait for him to get set here, let's check in from around the rest of the league anyway as far as the other games that are going. We mentioned that the Guardians had taken a 2-0 lead over the Twins. The Rockies have a 1-0 lead over the Mets early in that one. Through 1, Red Sox and Phillies tied at 0-0. No other scoring really going on around the league right now. And again, our nightcap game, we will have the Padres and the Dodgers tonight in our Sunday night baseball game. So make sure you join us for that. We'd really appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at UpsideSN. That way you can be notified whenever we do go live. Whenever we do post a video, we will post it there as well. Facebook page, Upside Sports Network as well. We have a few other pages out there for you, but if you want to check that out, you can. But primarily, we do post to our main page here at the Upside Sports Network. We cover the MLB, NFL, NBA, and the NHL. NHL playoffs going on underway. A lot of road teams winning early so far in the playoffs this year. And we've seen a lot of the top-tier teams get bounced already. I mean, the defending champions got bounced in the first round to an expansion team from a year ago. The Avalanche losing to the Kraken anyway. The best team, regular season-wise, ever in the NHL history got bounced in the first round by the Florida Panthers. So parity is certainly at a premium right now in the NHL. But the Panthers look very good. They look like they're in very good shape to possibly take out the Toronto Maple Leafs in their second-round matchup. And as I mentioned tonight, Stars and Kraken Game 3. We will, depending on how that how that Sunday night baseball game goes, how late it goes, we might be able to get that game started for you. That one starts around 8:30, 8:50 is usually puck drop. So make sure you join us tonight for Sunday night baseball and possibly some Game 3 of the NHL playoffs. First pitch here to Frazier. Strike 1 on the outside corner. Frazier 1 for 2 so far in the game. Definitely put some pressure on the base paths earlier in the game on Elder. This one's popped off the end of the bat. Arcia, nice running catch. He had to go a long way for that one, and that one was sinking fast, and he was able to get there in time. Great defensive play. Has a smile about that one. And there are 2 away here in the top of the 8th inning. Only 7 hits in the game so far today. It'll be up to Urias for the Orioles to keep it going. Does have some power. He hit 280 so far this year. Has the only RBI in the game for the Orioles. Strike 1 here on the inside corner. The lefty delivering to Urias. Slugging percentage of .387. 1 home run, 16 RBIs, as I mentioned. Swung on and missed. 93 again on the inside corner. And it's quickly 0-2. Nice work out of the bullpen so far by both teams. Voth for the Orioles. McHugh was great for the Braves, 2 scoreless innings. And this one is tapped to Riley, makes the easy play on to first, and that's the end of the top of the 8th for the Orioles. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 1-1 our score. Probably see a pinch hitter here for Trump to lead things off in the bottom of the 8th, especially with Acuna and Olson waiting on deck. We'll probably see Sean Murphy to pinch hit here for Trump if I had to guess. The big offseason acquisition for the Braves. He's played in 30 games, has a .287 batting average so far, 29 hits, 9 home runs, and 28 RBIs. So he would be the bat I would go with if I were the Atlanta Braves. I understand you want to give him some time off, day game after a night game, all that. You've given him 8 innings off, so it's time for him to get off the pine and drive in a run for you. You do have a 2-headed monster there at catcher, when healthy anyway, in d'Arnaud and Murphy. But we shall see. The bullpen has been very good for the Orioles so far this year. Not just Austin Voth today, but they've got a number of good relievers out there. Cano's had a good year for them, and that's exactly who they pop up on the screen. It looks like Yennier Cano is going to come on. Let's see if I can pull up his numbers for you real quick. Cano so far this year, 1-0 record, 11 games, has a couple of saves in 14 innings pitched, a 0 earned run average, 16 strikeouts, a .14 whip. That might be one of the lowest whips I've ever seen, even for this short of a sample size. Just absolutely filthy stuff for Yennier Cano, 29-year-old righty, and he's going to have a tough time here with Acuna batting second here in the 8th inning. Curious to see if they do bring up a pinch hitter here, as they show Nick Swisher and Fareed talking right now. Welcome in, Tim. And it does look like we will have Sean Murphy coming in as a pinch hitter. I like the game that Snitker has managed. I can't say the same for Brendan Hyde. I think the opportunity was missed earlier. A little tapper over the mound, on to the shortstop. Nice play, barehand play by Henderson, and gets the out of Sean Murphy. Just a tough play there, but able to get the job done. Maybe that'll help build some confidence for Henderson. Just over the glove of Cano. 1 pitch, 1 away here for Cano. If you're the Braves, at least you got him off the mound and made him start breathing a little bit. I mean, he's a very tough pitcher to come out of that Oriole bullpen right now. Looks like the Mets have tied it in the bottom of the first, 1-1. Braves needing to get a victory here. Make sure they keep that pace that they started out the season with. Orioles also looking to keep pace with the great start they've had. Wish they would not pay to make us see the games. Well, I got the MLB.TV anyway. I just wish I could show it on the screen, but that's why there's called broadcast rights and TV rights and all those kinds of things. 0-2 here. Allen misses well outside. 1-2 now. Acuna 0 for 3 in the game so far today. Matt Olson, the man who drove in the first run of the game on that solo home run that he hit to left center field, back in the first inning, waits on deck. The 1-2 again misses outside. Cano trying to impose upon the umpire that he thought it was a strike, staring him down for about a second or two after that one. The set by Cano. And the pitch. This one's lifted down the right field line. Looks like this one's going to get about 5 or 6 seats back. And it remains 2-2. I try, Tim. Glad I could help you out. This one's another hard hit ball back foul, and it remains 2-2. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing 3 games today at least. We might do 4. Depends on how quickly the Sunday night baseball game gets done. But you guys let us know in the chat whether you rather see the Rangers and Angels at 3 o'clock or would you rather see the Astros and Mariners at 3:10. This one right on the outside corner, but Acuna gets the call. That goes down as a ball. It's now 3-2. Just absolute paint there by Cano. And I guess because Rutschman had to stretch for it and pull it back, maybe that's why he wasn't, convinced it was a strike. I guess, because he missed location. But still, this one's tapped out to shortstop. Henderson up with it, makes a strong throw. A little bit easier play this time than the one from Murphy. 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. But as I mentioned, we'll be doing the triple header today, Baltimore and Atlanta to start things off. We'll do one around 3 o'clock, Texas or L.A., Texas and L.A., or the Astros and Mariners. And then the Sunday night game, Dodgers versus Padres. Matt Olson digging in, 248 on the year, a 534 slugging, 10 home runs, and 27 RBIs. Right on the inside corner, tapped back to the screen, and it's quickly 0-1. This one misses well outside, and it's now 1-1. They've primarily tried to pitch Olson away. A little bit surprised to see Cano try to bust him inside early. Olson just missed it. They are a really good team. They are fun to watch. I'll give you that. They were very demonstrative in their win yesterday. This one's tapped just in front of the plate. I guess it went foul and then back into the fair play and then back foul. So they're going to call it a foul ball. Basically didn't leave home plate, but it's now 1-2 here on Matt Olson. Braves down to their final strike here in the 8th. The pitch, well outside, 2-2. Cano starting to labor a little bit here, with Olson making him work. This one's lifted foul down the third base line. Olson late on that pitch. You don't want to miss location with him at the plate, especially this late in the ball game. Give the Braves a 1-run lead going to the 9th. Got to be very careful here. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Great pitch there. Changeup finished beneath the zone. Cano stares down Olson. Olson didn't expect him to stare him down. Looks back at him and starts staring him back. And we go to a commercial break. Wow. A little bit of emotion for 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Very entertaining game, though. We go to the 9th inning, tied 1-1. Now for the Orioles, it's going to be Stowers, Rutschman, and then Mullins. I'd imagine we're going to see a pinch hitter for Stowers. 3 innings too late, I might add. You can check out the video, or check out earlier in our stream about when they were in the 6th inning and had an opportunity, 2 on, 1 out, and chose not to pinch hit for Stowers, but to bring in Rutschman 1 batter later for McCann. I would have brought in McKenna right there for Stowers and tried to get a lead and jump on the Braves earlier, I should say, than we are here in the 9th. But just an opportunity missed there by their manager, Brandon Hyde. But as I mentioned, we're going to have a triple header here today. Baltimore and Atlanta was our first game. Texas Angels or the Astros Mariners will be our 3 o'clock game. And then the Sunday night baseball, Dodgers and Padres. And then if that game ends quickly enough, we might have Game 3, Dallas versus Seattle for you guys at around 8:30, 8:50, I think is when puck drop is. Looks like the Braves are going with their closer. Raisel Iglesias is going to take over on the mound. Great job out of the bullpen by both teams today. Tomorrow we will have the Rangers and Mariners at 8:40, so make sure you join us for that one. We might have another one earlier in the day, depending on how our schedule looks like for work, but we will have the Mariners and the Texas Rangers Monday, and then Tuesday we'll give you guys a choice again: Rangers and Mariners, or the Astros and Angels. Wednesday we'll have the day off. There won't be a game after I get off of work, unfortunately. And then on Thursday we'll have either the Giants and Diamondbacks, or the Rangers and A's. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll carry all 3 games of that Padres-Dodgers series. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. 0-1 here as it's tapped back foul, and they do keep Stowers in the game once again. Don't really understand the thought process here for the Orioles right now. Stowers is not doing well at the plate. This one outside, but swings and misses anyway, and he quickly behind 0-2. I guess you think he's supposed to be a good cog in your team, but I mean, this is the time, I guess, of the calendar, where you should be giving these guys time. But I don't know. That one misses, bounces in there, and it's 1-2. I still would have gone with McKenna. This one just off the inside corner, tapped foul by Stowers, and it remains 1-2. Appreciate all 35 of you guys joining us right now. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It certainly does help us out, so appreciate it. This one misses well up and in, now 2-2. Stowers evens the count. You wished Atlanta would go get a shortstop out on the market before a trade deadline. Not a fan of any ones they have. Grissom needs probably change positions. This one's tapped back to the mound. Iglesias flips on to first for the first out here in the top of the 9th. I really like Arcia and what he's doing for them. I mean, he's hitting over 300 right now in a short sample size, slugging over 500. Again, short sample size. They just signed him to a 3-year deal, $7.5 million, so I think they're pretty much set. As far as who could be out there for them to trade for on the market, I guess you could go after a guy like Tim Anderson. There was some rumors about them possibly being interested in a guy like Tim Anderson once he hits free agency anyway. But they've got a lot of money tied up in a lot of different spots right now. I think they're happy with Arcia at the position. I think they would really like Grissom to take over that spot, though, long term. And so that's why I think they're going to keep their roster the same at that position. That one misses to Rutschman. It's now quickly 2-0 here to the Orioles MVP candidate. The 2-0 pitch, just off the outside corner, foul tipped into the glove, and it's 2-1. Tim Anderson is a monster. I think he would definitely provide some spark to this team, even more leadership. I think Anderson would fit like a glove on this team with Albies, Acuna, players like that, but I just don't think that the Braves, one, have the pieces to really justify the expenditure in the trade. They're going to have to really pretty much gut what's left of their farm system to get something like that done. And I think there's other opportunities for them to improve. Like I said, left field DH is my first priority, especially when you consider that the primary thing they want in a shortstop is premium defense. And Arcia's given them that so far. Grissom eventually could be the answer there because of his athleticism, but he's got a lot of work to do with Ron Washington. So we'll see if he ever reaches that potential. This one's rolled over to first base. Nice job by Olson to field. Flips on to Raisel Iglesias. And the second out of the inning. 2 away here in the top of the 9th. Looks like we could be in store for a walk-off for the Braves in the bottom of the 9th if the Orioles are unable to scratch across a run. It'll be up to Cedric Mullins. 1 for 3 on the day. Also has a walk in the game. 254 average. Sean Murphy, by the way, stayed in the game as the catcher. Ozuna's doing well. Are we looking at the same guy? Marcell Ozuna, 148 average. I mean, it's not all about batting average. I get it. His slug percentage, etc., is higher, all those kinds of things. But they've got a couple of guys on the bench right now who are better offensive options than Marcell Ozuna. All the off-the-field issues they've had with him over the years, they've somehow stuck by him. 0-2 quickly here on Cedric Mullins. The set and the pitch. Lifted into center. Going back is Harris. Settles underneath it and makes the catch. That's the third out of the inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Braves have a chance to walk it off here against the Baltimore Orioles. It'll be Riley, Albies, and Rosario, 3-4-5. 4 home runs in the last 3 games. Yeah, that's pretty good for a 3-game stretch, but I'm looking season long. Ozuna's got to do more than that just to stay on the roster at this point. I think he's going to have to keep up that, either A, keep up that pace, which is not tenable, B, raise his average a little bit to 220, something more tenable of a power hitter in the middle of the lineup, or they're going to have to either see him improve his on-base percentage even more so. So Ozuna, while he's had a nice rebound over the last 3, I don't think does 3 games a season make. I'll put it that way. So I'll give him, say, it's not an immediate concern for the Braves because they do have some good bench options. I would say he's probably got to the end of May to get that batting average to above, say, 200, and some more consistent play would certainly help his case to stay on this roster long term. Otherwise, you could see him, go to the IL with a shoulder strain. What we see some struggling players get put on the IL for, to give them some time off, see if they can straighten it out. And if they don't, when they come back, they can either be DFA'd or be part of a trade and add another piece. But I think around the trade deadline, if Ozuna's still hitting around this number, that could be a spot where they really bring in somebody really mashes and rakes at that DH spot. There's not a lot of free agents out there this offseason to go out there and bring in offensively. So if you're needing an offensive infusion, you're going to have to do it at the trade deadline this year. So keep your eyes peeled for the Braves possibly making an addition there. I'm just saying, in the lineup right now, he's probably the one spot in the lineup you could improve. Yeah, Pilar's had a good start. I'm not sure he's an everyday player, but I think he's a great 4th outfielder for you for Atlanta. Rosario, I think, is a great 4th, 3rd outfielder in that mix. But I think for an everyday, piece in the lineup, they could make some improvement at that spot. Not saying that they don't have options already on the roster. I'm not saying that Ozuna couldn't improve. I'm just saying right now, as it stands, they could use a little bit of help. This one finishes right at the bottom of the zone. It now evens the count here 1-1. Cano out for his 2nd inning of work. As I mentioned, his whip is .14 coming into the game. He's been absolutely dominant. Had a little bit of a stare down at the end of the 8th inning with Matt Olson. Little sinker there. Finds the zone 1-2. Looks like it buckled Riley on that one. Couldn't make the decision to swing. That one misses up and away. 2-2. One big swing here, though, ends the game. So Braves looking for the walk-off. We'll see if they get it. Albies waiting on deck. The 2-2 pitch. Bounces in the dirt. Doesn't get Riley to chase. 3-2. I don't think they'll pinch run anyway for Riley if he does get a walk here, but we shall see. Looks like the Yankees have increased their lead versus the Rays in the 3rd. 3-0 there. The 3-2 pitch tapped back to the mound. Cano settles, makes the throw over to first for the 1st out of the inning. One away here in the bottom of the 9th. Yeah, I mean, it's very slow for him. I mean, they're still hitting 248, 246. Not exactly world beaters, but still. World beating numbers, I should say. They are world beaters when they are on. But I think a productive season for Riley would probably be 280. 1-0 to Albies. This one catches way too much of the plate. Albies, though, grounds it foul down the first base line. 1-1. Albies has 2 career walk-off home runs. His last was a 3-run shot, so all they need is 1 right now. This one misses well outside. Cano missing location badly on his last 2 pitches. It's now 2-1. Cano up to 25 pitches now, as that one is fouled away at 2-2 now. As Albies lifted that one high and out of field of play down the first base line. Cano sets. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch there by Cano. Again, stares down the Albies after throwing that one. Just a great pitch off the outside corner. That movement kind of looked like it was going to catch the very bottom of the outside corner, and it just tailed away from the hitter, getting Albies to chase. 2 away here in the bottom of the ninth. Great pitch. Cano might really have something with that movement on those pitches there. Looks unhittable with that one. First pitch here to Rosario, fouled straight back to the screen. 0-1. Orioles 2 strikes away from extending this ball game into extra innings. 1 for 3 on the day is Rosario. Another one fouled back, tapped back to the screen anyway. Now 0-2. Braves down to their final strike in the bottom of the ninth inning. Tie game 1-1. Got 40 of you guys with us right now. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit that like and subscribe. First part of our triple header here today. The set and the pitch. Another great tailing action there by Cano. Looked like it was, again, going towards that outside corner and just tailed away from the hitter. Swing and a miss by Rosario, and we go to extras. Braves and Orioles tied at 1. Well, if you guys just joined us late anyway, the Braves got out to a 1-0 lead back in the first inning. Matt Olson hit a home run, 108 miles an hour off the end of the bat over the left center field wall, and 413 feet anyway. Looks like if he had gotten a little bit more off of the barrel, he probably would have hit that for 480, 500 feet. The Orioles anyway had tons of opportunities. They did cash in finally in the fourth inning on a ground out to shortstop scoring Hayes. The RBI by Urias anyway. But outside of that, the bullpens have been very good. The Orioles had a couple more opportunities to try to drive in some runs and miss some scoring opportunities in the third, and the fifth, and the sixth. But as it stands right now, the game is all square. Orioles 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error. Braves 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error. We started out the game with not a lot of walks. The Orioles have 5 walks, or have been walked 5 times in the game. Braves only once so far today. Not a whole lot of base runners for them. But it looks like we're going to go with Jesse Chavez out of the bullpen for the Braves. Raisel Iglesias just gets the 1 inning. Chavez has bounced around the league quite a bit now over the last few years. Has spent some time with the Oakland A's as a starter. Went to the Rangers, Cubs and Rangers all over again. It's been with the Braves a couple of different times now. And we'll see if he can get the 3 outs here without allowing that runner from second to score. Remember, extra innings, you do start with a runner on second base. It will be Cedric Mullins, a good base runner out there at second base. I wonder if they'll give him an opportunity to steal. Thank you for subscribing, Tim. Appreciate that. You guys have no idea how important it is that you guys like and subscribe, so we really do appreciate it. It really does help us out. We got like 40 of you guys watching right now. If you guys all liked and subscribed to the video, you guys have no idea how important that would be for us. So thank you guys. First pitch here by Chavez, right down the middle, fouled into the glove of the catcher. Mullins had a massive lead off of second on that one. 0-1 here to Anthony Santander. So far in extra innings, the Orioles are 1-1 so far on the young season. Braves are 1-0. Thank you, Tim. Thank you once again for keeping us posted with the game and live analysis. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do with this channel. That and kind of give you some breakdown of some of the transactions. That's kind of my favorite part of any sport, is really the off-the-field stuff as well. You know, which trades are going to happen, the signings that happen, the injuries, you know, the rotations, the lineups, all those types of things. Quickly 0-2 here. This one's tapped foul down the first base line, and it remains 0-2. Looks like Mullins was not going on that one. As I mentioned, Mullins had 11 stolen bases in the first month of the season. His career high was last year at 32. With the bases being a little better and the pitch clock and the limited disengagements, all those kinds of things. You can really see how his stolen base numbers are really going to leapfrog this year. This one's hard hit down the line and right. This one's going to go all the way to the wall. We'll score a run. It's now 2-1. Baltimore takes the lead here in the top of the 10th inning. That's going to be a double for Santander. Or no, it's a single. Fielded quickly off of the wall by Acuna. Able to keep Santander at first base. Nice job by Acuna to get that ball in quickly. Just a high strike. Santander just kept his eyes on it. Just took it right where it was taken. Or just where it was pitched anyway. And just a great job there by Acuna. Holding Santander to a single. Looks like they're going to pinch run here. They're bringing in Jorge Mateo. Speedy shortstop. Spent some time with the Oakland A's, former top prospect of the New York Yankees. Ryan Mountcastle, 0 for 4 is in there. Now a runner on first base. Bluffs a move there, but strike right at the knees there to Mountcastle, and it's 0-1. Braves going to have their work cut out for them in the bottom half of the 10th inning now that they've fallen down by a run. Santander finishes his game 2 for 4 with that RBI in extras, so he had a great day at the plate today, especially with as good as the pitching matchup was today. Tyler Wells played well. Looked like the Braves almost caught Mateo leaning just a little too far. The pickoff attempt almost got him there from Chavez. The 0-1. Pitch out, and he does steal second base. They don't even bother throwing. He got such a good jump with the pitch out. Murphy couldn't even get a throw off to even get close to catching him. He took off before even the first movement. It's like he saw Chavez's eyes go back to the plate, and that's when he took off. He didn't even wait for the pitcher to go. He just saw his eyes look at him, look back at the plate, and then he went the second his eyes started to move. Just great base running there by Jorge Mateo. That one misses. It's now 2-1. Another runner in scoring position. Braves will have a runner on second base. Remember to start the bottom half of the 10th inning, so important for the Orioles to try to scratch across another run here. Swing and a miss. Nice off-speed pitch. Curveball right at the bottom of the zone. Gets Mountcastle well out in front. And it's 2-2. Mountcastle 0 for 4 with a strikeout so far. That one not even close. Bounced in the dirt. Mountcastle kind of gave a half-hearted check swing, I suppose. Braves check anyway, but it wasn't even close. And it's now 3-2. Curious to see if they try to get Mateo moving on the pitch here. As good of a jump as he got to steal second base, I wonder if they try to get him to third with less than 2 outs. This one right at the bottom of the zone, fouled away. Remains 3-2. Really good game here today. Low scoring affair. Well pitched ball game as well. Orioles 22-11 on the year. Braves 23-11. Swing and a miss. Foul tip right into the glove of Murphy, and he's able to hold on. And that's this first out of the inning anyway. Mountcastle now 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts in the game. Gunnar Henderson 0 for 4. He's also struck out a couple of times so far today. We'll see if he can get out of his slump to start the year. Last year he hit like 320 at the end, or over the final month of the year. So far for the first month of this year, not quite the same level of success. But a good opportunity here to get him some experience in a pressure-packed situation early in the season. Takes wide, ball 1. 178 batting average, 345 on base percentage though. 311 slug. Chavez throws behind Mateo and just getting in there safely. It's now 1-0. We'll see if Mateo now takes off. That's the first disengagement of this at bat. Curious to see if he goes immediately. This one lined right to short. They go to third. They are going to get him. What a play by Austin Riley. Had to go reach one way and back across his body, dive and make a tag on Mateo. for the time being, they're saying he is out at third base. Mateo kind of dusting himself off. Hopefully he didn't hurt himself on that slide, but what a nice play by Arcia, but a better throw gets him easily. Looking at the replay, Riley does tag him in time, so runner will be at first base with 2 away. Orioles, though, have taken the lead here in the top of the 10th. Braves will need to scratch across at least 1 run, but that was a huge out, because if they don't get that out, runners are at the corners with less than 2 outs. A fly ball makes it a 2-run ball game, and even though the Braves will start the inning with a runner on second base, they would still need another run to score. So they're almost out of the woods, but not through it completely as of yet. Just a great play there by Arcia and Riley, being able to combine and get that out. Yeah, the tag's there in plenty of time. They're showing plenty of replays of it. I'm wondering if they decided to challenge it anyway. It's a replay review, excuse me. Call is confirmed. It's not just stand, it's confirmed. 2 away here in the top of the 10th. Great play by Arcia. Again, one of the things they were worried about losing with Dansby Swanson going to the Cubs was the defense at shortstop. Great play there by Arcia. Maybe those of you who aren't sold on him yet, maybe that'll help convince you that, hey, maybe he can hold it down. His offense so far this year cannot be questioned, that's for sure. The question will be, can he do it long term? Austin Hayes digging in, singled, has a walk, scored a run, 294 average with a 500 slug so far. Pickoff attempt over at first. Chavez not afraid to throw over. Looks like the screen's stuck here for the Game Day app, so I'll kind of keep you guys updated. That one finishes outside 2-0. We'll go ahead and refresh the screen just to see if it's something simple. Nope, it's the Game Day. That one tapped foul to the screen. Now 2-1. Braves 2 strikes away from getting out of this 10th inning with only the 1 run across. So far this year, Hayes versus righties hitting .323 versus lefties .243. As the Game Day app finally catches up now. The 2-1 hit high into the air, right center. Acuna calling for it, makes the catch, and we go to the bottom of the 10th. 2-1, Orioles take the lead. Nice job by the Braves being able to cut down the runner at third to avoid more damage coming in. If that runner is safe at third base after they opted to throw it to third instead of getting the easy out at first, that run right there, if that runner had reached and no out was recorded, that might have scored another run for the Orioles. But as it stands, we go to the bottom of the 10th inning. Orioles in front, 2-1. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Orioles so far today. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for the Braves. I think the Braves lost this one. I don't know yet. They're going to have Ozuna, Harris, and Arcia. Ozuna's 0 for 2, but does have a walk in the game. Harris is 0 for 3, but has hit the ball well in a couple of at-bats. Arcia is 1 for 3, but struck out twice. And then they'll have Murphy waiting on deck, or waiting in the hole anyway, or in the cleanup spot this inning. They do have a couple of guys they could turn to pinch hit. They got Pilar. They got some speed guys there as well. Hilliard is there and Shoemake. I don't think they will pinch hit right now. I think they're going to try to get the 1 swing from Ozuna. As you mentioned, he's got 4 home runs in his last 3 games. A base hit scores a run, so a couple of contact hitters. They could try to bunt him over, but I wouldn't try to bunt with Ozuna. But we should see some interesting baseball here in the bottom of the 10th, how they decide to go about it. Orioles get a great bullpen effort from Voth. They got another couple innings from Cano. Imagine they'll go with Bautista here, who's functioned primarily as their closer, and it is Bautista who comes out of the pen. As I mentioned, the Braves will have a runner on second base. That will be Eddie Rosario. Does run well. Bautista, the right-hander, coming on. 15 games so far this year. 7 saves in 9 opportunities, so that's 2 blown saves. 2-1 record, a 1.84 earned run average, 28 strikeouts to 9 walks. So he does have a very overpowering repertoire, but he does have some walks in there, so it shows you command can be an issue from time to time. We'll see if the Braves can take advantage of some of those command issues. The Baltimore Orioles have retired 15 straight batters. Last person to get a hit was actually Orlando Arcia back in that 5th inning, that double. Ozuna digs in, the set by Bautista, and the pitch. High ball 1. 1-0. They do have a pinch runner out there at second base. They're going to go with Hilliard out there at second, taking over for Rosario. Allen finishes about 1.5 feet outside. Nice catch there by Rutschman. 2-0 though. As I mentioned, 9 walks on the season for Bautista, so the Braves will have the opportunity to get on base against him. 28 strikeouts though, so got to be careful. The 2-0. Nice off-speed pitch, trying to just throw it over the get-me-over slider, if you will. 2-1. Ozuna taking all the way there. A walk, though, wouldn't be the worst thing for the Orioles because it would set up the double play. The 2-1. On the inside corner, fouled back over the screen, and it's now 2-2. As I mentioned, Sam Hilliard is taken over at second base as the pinch runner. Curious to see if they try to get him to steal third if Ozuna does not get on base or advance the runner. Get him there with less than 2 outs. We shall see. The 2-2 pitch. Off the fist, grounded to second. This will get the runner to third with less than 2 outs. Good throw there by Frazier to get the runner. And it'll be Michael Harris next. Sam Hilliard is now 90 feet away from tying this ball game here in the bottom of the 10th. Braves hoping for not just 1 run, but to walk it off here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Michael Harris does have some power. 0 for 3 in the game, though. Has had some strong contact here in the game. Strike 1 here right down the middle. 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Another get-me-over strike. He does have 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and a .286 on-base percentage. Harris has popped out, flied out so far today. That one bounces and gets away, but up the third base line. But Hilliard is going to score anyway and ties the game at 2 here in the 10th. Braves take advantage of the, I'm going to call it a wild pitch here by Bautista. Bounced in the dirt. Rutschman was able to block it, but it goes too far up the third base line, and Hilliard did not wait. He saw how far that ball was going and said, nope, I'm going and I'm scoring here. Because Rutschman was going to have to go field the ball, and there was going to be nobody to cover home, as both Bautista and Rutschman were going to have to go field the ball. Rutschman saw that nobody was going to cover home, stayed back, and there was not even a play at the plate. 2-2 is the score now here in the bottom of the 10th. Harris fouls this one down the left field line, now 1-2. But we have the game tied here in the bottom of the 10th. Braves fans hoping for a base hit here from Michael Harris. Just get on base at this point. The 1-2 pitch inside, almost hit him in the hand. 2-2 now. Got the tomahawk chop right now going for Braves fans, as Tim tells us. You can see a few of the fans in the background doing the chop. Now 3-2 as that one misses about 3 feet above the zone. As we mentioned, there can be some command and control issues for Bautista. Arcia waits on deck. The 3-2 fouled off, and just getting that pitch off with zeros on the clock was Bautista. Umpires do not call a pitch clock violation. That would have automatically granted a ball in the count, which would have put Harris on first base. Umpire being very friendly there to Bautista on that one. This one gets off in plenty of time. The 3-2 north of the zone, and Harris flips the bat emphatically, and he's going to be alive on first base. Winning run is now at first base right now for the Braves. Bautista looks like he's working a little hard now. Wipes the sweat from his brow. And it will be Orlando Arcia next. He already has a double in the game. An extra base hit probably scores Harris from first base. Got to think the defense for the Orioles right now is playing no doubles. This one's fouled off, and it's 0-1. Bautista up to 13 pitches. Remember, the tapper by Ozuna to second got the runner to third, and then the wild pitch by Bautista scored the run. Now the walk to Harris. Arcia up next anyway. And Harris is off with the pitch. The pitch is a strike. The throw is late, and they're going to say safe at second. It was darn close. They're asking for a review. We'll see if they give it. Going on first movement. That was a great throw by Rutschman, though. Looking at the replay, they slow it down now. The throw's in time, but the tag was late, it looks like, from that angle. Can't really tell. The other angle, this is a worse angle. They need to see the home plate angle to see if this is a... Okay, this one's a good angle. But Henderson is blocking whether or not the tag was made from that camera angle. Here's another good one. Looks like his hand gets in there literally a fraction of a second before the pick or the throw down to second by Rutschman. I think this is going to stand if it looks like it's being reviewed. But a great stolen base here by Michael Harris. Now first base is open with only one out. Maybe you decide you want to get the double play in order. The review call stands. Third stolen base of the season there for Michael Harris. None bigger than that one. He's now 180 feet away from scoring. Base hit now, not even a double. A base hit scores the runner. Got to think this might change the alignment of the outfield. Instead of playing no doubles, they might be playing a little bit more shallow now. They calling that a clock violation on the batter? Yes, they are. 0-2. That one outside. Now 1-2. They're saying Arcia did not get in the box fast enough. Another check swing able to hold up. 1-2 is the count. The screen is wrong on here. Do not pay attention to that. It is 1-2. This one's a tapper. Rutschman gets it, throws to third, and they get him. Another great play at third base. Wow. Back-to-back half innings where a runner is gunned down at third base. Rutschman, it was a very short tapper, literally a step in front of home. Gets the throw. He wasn't even halfway to third yet. I don't know why he decided to keep on going, but the tag hits him in the face. If it brushes the shoulder before it hits the face, I think he's out. But we'll see on a better replay. That's a horrible angle. Looks like they're not going to review it, but in either event, runner is gunned down at third base. Ouch. 101 mile an hour fastball. 0-1 here to Sean Murphy. Murphy hitting 284, came on as a pinch hitter a couple innings ago. Took over behind the plate. Pickoff attempt over to first base, keeping the runner close. The 0-1 here to Murphy. Fouled off, and it's quickly 0-2. Arcia was not going on that play. Curious to see if they try to get Arcia into scoring position. Worst case scenario, you'd have Murphy leading off the 11th inning. The 0-2 here from Bautista. Swing and a miss. Nice off-speed pitch. And we go to the 11th. Tied at 2. Well, at this point, my game may run into our afternoon triple header. Well played game. Great defensive plays there in the 10th inning. They're cutting runners down on both sides at third base. Jorge Mateo gunned down at third in the top half. Michael Harris gunned down at third in the bottom half. Just a questionable decision, though, I think, for the Braves on both ends, for Arcia to get the runner at third instead of taking the easy out at first. But they get the lead runner. Always want to do that if you can. So great play, though. On the other side of it, you got a questionable decision by Michael Harris to continue to go with that little tapper out there in front of Adley Rutschman. It looked like he was looking in at the catcher at that time and then switched to Ron Washington. Ron Washington was telling him to go, 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 I suppose. But, I mean, once you see that literally be fielded on one hop and you're not even halfway to third base yet and you continue to keep going, then you're in no man's land and then you have to get to third base one way or the other. I guess he was already committed, I suppose, but I would have at least stopped immediately and just tried to see if you could get them to throw to first instead and then go back to second. And then you still got the one out, I suppose, and it still would have ended the same way. But the runner getting gunned down at third base certainly hurt the cause there. In either event, we go to the 11th inning. It'll be Frazier, Urias, and Stowers for the Orioles. Hayes will be the runner out there at second base. Michael Tonkin takes over on the mound for Jesse Chavez. And what an active inning anyway in the 10th inning. Both sides getting the Manfred man, if you will, across the plate. As we see the Red Sox score a run. It's now 2-1 Phillies against Boston. Great defense, though, on both sides. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Baltimore. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for Atlanta. Tonkin on the year, 9 games. 0 for 2 in save opportunities, a .212 earned run average in 17 innings. Kind of a multi-inning reliever. 2 home runs and a .143 batting average against. 3 walks to 14 strikeouts. He's been very effective when he's been out there. The righty will face Adam Frazier to start here in the top of the 11th. This one's lifted high in the air, but the right fielder Acuna will take a strong throw to stop the runner from advancing. The throw right on the money. Is the tag there? It is! What a double play. Ronald Acuna. Michael Tonkin is fired up there on the mound. What a perfect throw by Acuna, who had a questionable throw earlier in the game. This one right on the money. Gathered himself before he caught the ball and made a nice, strong throw to Austin Riley. Just a great defensive play. Let's see that replay one more time. And he does get the tag down there in time. What a nice play. But did he get the tag in time, though, on the second look anyway? Not sure they can review it anyway, but either way, what a great play. The throw was there in plenty of time. The tag was down in time. The question was, did he get the actual tag before the runner hit the base? Not sure if this will be reviewed or not. Looks like they are reviewing it. The call on the field is being reviewed, and they are saying it is confirmed. Not sure there was enough there anyway for them to overturn it. The tag went in between his 2 arms as he went into the base anyway, if you will. Like the tag was right here, and I guess they're saying it caught Yep, it did catch his hand before the base, or before it went in between his 2 hands. Nice tag there by Riley. Great, great, great play by Acuna. Tonkin misses outside. Ball 1. 2 pitches and 2 outs already. This one finds the corner, and it's 1-1. Urias drove in the only run the Orioles were able to score during the first 9 innings of the game anyway. drove in the run on a ground out to short. Also has a walk in the game. This one's fouled off down the first base side, and it's quickly 1-2. Braves hoping to score the run in the bottom half of the 11th and get out of this one with a win. This one in the dirt, now 2-2. Some great defense here in extra innings anyway, on both sides. A couple of great plays, one by Arcia in the 10th, another one here by Acuna throwing out the runner at third here in the 11th, keeping it 2-2. If he airmails that one and that one ends up in the seats, that runner continues to advance, so just a perfect throw. Wow. Tonkin is fired up after the strikeout there. What a nice inning there defensively by the Braves. And they go to the bottom of the 11th. They will have a runner on second base to start the inning. It will be Sean Murphy. It'll be Acuna to lead things off for the Braves. And how many times have we seen a player get the great defensive play in the top half of the inning only to come through offensively in the bottom half of the inning? So we could be nearing the end of this one here. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe to this to us here at the Upside Sports Network. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at UpsideSN, Facebook as well, Upside Sports Network there. Appreciate all of you guys joining us today. Got over 40 of you guys watching right now. Thank you guys for liking the video. You guys have no idea how important it is, how big of a thing it is for you guys to like and subscribe to us. It helps us out so much. So for those of you who have already done so, we appreciate it. Thank you. Tip of the cap to you. And for those of you who have not done so, please do it. It really does help. So thank you very much. But as I said, going to have a triple header for you guys today, depending on how quickly this one gets over. We were planning on doing the early game today, the 10:35 start, and then we were hoping this one would get over before 3 o'clock, but it's already threatening to push for the, 3+ hour mark now. We'll have either the Texas Rangers and Angels at the 3 o'clock hour or the Astros and Mariners. Sunday Night Baseball will be the Dodgers and Padres. And then depending on how quickly that one gets over, we may do the Dallas Stars in Game 3 of the NHL second-round playoff series against the Seattle Kraken. Puck drop of that one's supposed to be 8:50. Looks like the Orioles are going to their bullpen once again. Looks like it'll be Bowman. Next Sunday, the leadoff game for you guys will be Angels versus the Cubs. We'll try to do a triple header for you guys on most Sundays. They do not for Sean Murphy, because they already used their other catcher, Trump, to start the game. Murphy came in as a pinch hitter later in the game. Acuna 0 for 4 today, 3 groundouts and a flyout. That defensive play, though, really doing the job, though, the last half inning. First pitch, well outside, ball 1. Base hit in the gap ends the game. Base hit right at somebody in the outfield might not. Braves fans on the edge of their seat. Most of the crowd on their feet there at Truist Park in Atlanta. That one right at the bottom of the zone, ruled a ball, and saying he held back at the plate anyway is first base umpire saying Acuna did not swing at that one. 3 walk-off hits. His last one was a solo home run in May of 2021 against the New York Mets. The 2-0 here. Swing and a miss, off-speed pitch. Slider on the outer half. Gets Acuna out in front. Now 2-1. Worst thing in the world would not be a walk here to Acuna. That would just set up a double play with a slower Matt Olson at the plate due up next. This one's chopped. This will keep the runner at second. Urias flips on to first just in time. Nice play there. Bigger part is that they keep the runner at second base, so Acuna does not get the job done. Matt Olson, who had that home run back in the first inning, is due up next. Appreciate you guys joining us. Got 60 of you guys joining us right now. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Matt Olson hit that 108 mile an hour fastball, or hit the 108 mile an hour ball over the left center field wall, 413 feet, and it looks like he didn't even get all of it. They will intentionally walk him, and they will now face Austin Riley. Runners at first and second now, one away here in the bottom of the 11th. After the Orioles were unable to get the Manfred man across to take the lead in the top half of the 11th. It'll be the Braves with the opportunity to try to drive in a run here. Riley certainly does have the power to do so. Takes ball one in the dirt in the other batter's box. 1-0. Bowman's been a little bit wild so far. Another slider, though, that seems to be the pitch that's working for him, that he's able to locate. Right at the top of the zone, catches Riley out in front. 1-1 is the count now. The set and the pitch. Another one right at the top of the zone, 99-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball. Foul tipped into the glove, now 1-2. Orioles would love nothing more than Bowman to get the strikeout here. Riley was just underneath that one. This one bounces in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, but they're going to keep Murphy at second. 2 away here. Braves look like they might be missing an opportunity. They had the top of the lineup and have only gotten an intentional walk to show for it. It'll be Ozzie Albies next. Sam Hilliard waits on deck after he came on as a pinch runner for Rosario in the last inning anyway. Yankees are now up 6-0 on the Rays there in the 5th as we see that pop up on the screen. First pitch here to Albies, tapped back over the screen. 0-1. Albies has 3 walk-off hits. His last was a 3-run home run in August of 21 against the Reds. All they need now, though, is a base hit into the outfield, and that might be enough to get the job done. The 0-1. What are they saying here? Are they saying a clock violation on either Albies or the pitcher? Or are they saying time was requested? Not entirely sure. In either event, the set by Bowman and the pitch. Right on the outside corner. 0-2. Just absolute paint with that one. And Bowman is almost out of it. 2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 11th. 0-2 pitch. This one's rolled over to first base. Foul. Looks like they're trying to pitch Ozzie Albies away. The count remains 0-2. Rutschman behind the plate right now after taking over from McCann earlier. This one's a batter timeout. Or are they saying clock violation? One, two is the count. I guess they're saying pitcher didn't give anything for the hitter to lock in with, so they're saying a ball on that one. 1-2. Swung on and missed, and Bowman is now fired up. That's the end of the inning. A strikeout there of Albies, and the top of the Braves lineup just could not come through. We go to the 12th inning, tied at 2. What a game we've got here today for the Peacock game. They get the Sunday leadoff game. Very well-pitched game, and then both teams play well in the 10th inning, getting the first runner across, and then great defense to cut down runners at third. The 11th, both teams failed to get that Manfred man across. It's not often you see a game go this late into extras nowadays. Wow. Curious to see what the Braves decide to do. Tonkin was dominant in his last half inning. Didn't throw a whole lot of pitches, so they may keep Tonkin out there. But he was very fired up his last half inning, so Maybe his emotions drained him more than the actual number of pitches thrown. But in either event, it'll be Stowers, Rutschman, and Mullins. Welcome in, Austin. Again, I would pinch hit for Stowers. This is the third time I've said this in a row now. They should have done it in the 6th. They should have done it in the 9th. Now they should do it in the 12th. Let's see if finally Brendan Hyde pulls the trigger. Stowers in the game, by the way, 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Looks like they're just getting back from commercial break. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Orioles. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Braves so far today. Ramon Urias will be the runner out there at second base, and it looks like once again they're going to keep Stowers in the lineup. However, Hyde is coming out there. We'll see if this is some type of a lineup change more than anything else. They're going to use McKenna as a pinch runner instead of Urias. Aye. Not sure I would have done that. In either event, McKenna is now out there at short. Urias' day is over. Stowers is going to have to hit now. I would have rather had McKenna at the plate rather than taking over as a runner. Runners in scoring position so far today, the Orioles are 1 for 11. Braves are 0 for 9. Welcome in, Ronaldo. Drop us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help. Stowers is quickly behind 0-2 here. Tonkin is out for his second inning of work. The 0-2 pitch. Lifted high in the air. Behind short and third. It'll be Arcia making the catch. One away here in the 12th. Adley Rutschman 0 for 1 has a walk in the game as well. Curious to see if they decide to either walk him or if they decide to face him here. Put a double play in order or not. Got 2 chances to drive in that runner at second, though. I would probably walk Santander and try to face Mullins. That way I only have 1 guy to face out of 2. Because if you get the double play on Mullins, the inning's over. Tough to turn on a speedy guy like that, though. That one finds the corner 0-1. This one does not. Now 1-1. Curious that they're not having a lefty out there as well. With Rutschman and Mullins at the plate. Both lefty hitters. This one off the outside corner, but fouled down the third base line. Quickly 1-2. I would keep pounding that outside corner if I'm the Braves. Either that or bust him in with a fastball up and in. This one was a sinker that didn't sink and just kind of missed way high, about 2.5 feet off the outside corner, up and away. The 2-2 pitch. The set. This one's hard hit, but right at the first baseman. Nice play by Olson. He gets the out there, and there is 2 outs. This will advance the runner to third, though. Mullins will be next. What a nice job by Olson to get over there and keep it in front of him. I like that he didn't just stick the glove out there like this. Instead, he got his body over in front of it first while the glove was there to make sure it didn't get past him. Because if that ball goes into the outfield, that run scores easily. But Cedric Mullins will be up 1 for 4 with a walk and a double. Scored a run. Remember, he was the Manfred man the last half inning and scored from second base. Popped this one foul down the third base line and out of play. 0-1. Here in the top of the 12th, Baltimore and Atlanta tied at 2, two of the best teams in all of baseball. Both teams 11 losses, 22 wins for the Baltimore Orioles, 23 for the Braves. Very, very nice stop by Sean Murphy. Tonkin missed his spot by about 3 feet. And able to backhand stab that one is Sean Murphy. Keep this game tied. 1-1 is the count. This one off the outside corner, lifted into short right field. Coming on is Albies and Acuna, and who makes the catch? Looks like Albies was able to make it. They avoided a collision. Nice play there defensively, though. Better communication might be necessary in the future. Both players calling for it, but Albies was there, kind of caught it behind his head. Eef. But in either event, another extra innings without a run coming across. Atlanta will have the opportunity once again. It'll be Sam Hilliard due up first. Albies will be the runner at second base, so a good speedy runner out there. Maybe they tried to do a bunt, get the runner over to third with less than 2 outs. Hilliard has played well so far this year to a .266 average. Appreciate those of you who have subscribed already. If you're new here to the Upside, we cover Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL. Since this one's probably going a little longer, we'll probably skip our 3 o'clock game since this one's going a little longer. Braves have now taken the lead against the Rockies 4-3, but we will still have our late game tonight, the Dodgers and the Padres at 6 o'clock. It is now 2 o'clock Central Time. Appreciate you guys for joining us today. We're in the bottom of the 12th inning now, between the Baltimore Orioles and Atlanta Braves. It's been an offense-heavy series coming into this one, and pitching dominant here today. We'll try to, hopefully that Sunday night game will finish a little early and we can do the Stars and Kraken game for you guys after that Sunday night baseball game. Guardians still lead at 2-0 over the Twins in the bottom of the 6th there. And it will be Perez coming on out of the bullpen for the Orioles today. He was fantastic for them last year. So far this year, 16 games, 13 in the 3rd innings. 8 walks, 11 strikeouts, a .472 earned run average though. And it looks like Pilar will be coming off the bench. So far the series, 1-for-1, has a 2-run home run. Had that 2-run home run last night. That was a big upper deck home run for Pilar. Coming through with a big hit. Albies again out there at second base as the Manfred man. All the Braves need is 1 run, so we'll see if they get something done. Pilar, of course, spent all those years with the Toronto Blue Jays as their defense-first center fielder. Has come around a little bit with the bat in recent years. That's why he's caught on here with the Atlanta Braves. Still, defense is probably his primary calling card. That one finishes back foot, ball 1. Didn't miss his back foot by much. Another one bounces in there, and it's quickly 2-0. Perez not happy with something on the mound. Calls for time as he adjusts the dirt. Pilar also with 3 career walk-off hits. His last one was a solo home run, September 7th, 2018 against the Guardians. The 2-0 here to Pilar, right on the inside corner. Very nice off-speed pitch there. 2-1 is the count. Again, all the Braves need is a base hit here, really, and it scores Albies. Looks like the defense is very shallow in the outfield. This one's lifted behind home plate off the screen, and it's now 2-2. Perez evening the count there after looking very wild in his first 2 pitches. Sorry, Urias was lifted out of the game. He is no longer over there at third base. That one swung on and missed. Another back foot slider, or curveball. This one catches enough of the eye of Pilar to get him to offer at it. And that's the first out of the inning. Great strikeout there. Marcelo Zuna to be next. Again, don't need a home run, but he does have 4 home runs in his last 3 games. 0 for 3 so far today with a walk. And he has intentionally walked to set up the double play. Slower base runner, etc. Michael Harris, of course, was able to get a walk in his last at bat. Stole second and then was gunned down at third by Adley Rushman on a little tapper back to the mound by Arcia. Runners on first and second, 1 out here, lefty on lefty. The pitch off the end of the bat into left center. Will this get down? It will, off the base of the wall, and that's going to be it. The Braves win it here in extras, 3-2. What a great game it was, though. Fantastic finish. Home run by Olson in the first, a run on a fielder's choice anyway, or a ground out anyway to short in the fourth for the Orioles. Both the Orioles and Braves get the Manfred man across in the 10th, and then Michael Harris with a double. I guess they're going to call it a double off the center field wall. And what a great job by the Atlanta Braves, just persevering. They did not have the greatest offense here today, but do enough to get the job done and win against the Baltimore Orioles. Fantastic game. Again, just to kind of recap, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Orioles today. 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Braves. None bigger than that one by Michael Harris here in extras to win it. I'm going to go player of the game. I don't know, I'm probably going to go Michael Harris for the Atlanta Braves, just for that base hit to get it done. A day when the offense really struggled for the Atlanta Braves. It's kind of tough to choose. There's a couple of guys on the Baltimore side that I really liked, but I'd go with the Michael Harris base hit to win it. Matt Olson had a good game with that home run. Santander was fantastic for the Orioles. But overall, just a great game, well played, well pitched game by both sides. If you guys want to join us later on today, we will have the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres for you guys in the Sunday night baseball game. And if that one ends fast enough, we will have Game 3 of the Dallas Stars and Seattle Kraken in their second round playoff series tonight. But thank you guys for joining us here. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We'll be having quite a few baseball games the rest of the week. Rangers and Mariners tomorrow. Possibly Rangers and Mariners again on Tuesday, or Astros and Angels, depending on how you guys let us know in our chat. Thursday we'll have some baseball for you guys as well, and then we'll have the 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Padres and Dodgers. Make sure you guys join us for that. We will have probably a triple header for you guys next Sunday. But again, later on this evening, Sunday night baseball, Dodgers and Padres. We'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for joining us, hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. Really appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys later on this evening.